$5,000. Cash payment to anyone who can prove that what lying son of a devil Farrakhan is preaching is consistent with the lessons, supreme wisdom, of Master Fard Muhammad Elijah Muhammad's representation of his teacher Master Fard's teachings.
Assalamu alaikum, sisters and brothers. Sulman Rahim here, Best of Covenant, Breaker 7 Seals. Here it is, brothers and sisters, $5,000. You have yet to pick me up on that. It'd be easy, right? They're aware of it. And so are you. Why don't you come and get your $5,000? It shows there's a bunch of liars out there. It's be easy $5,000. Win-win. You get your $5,000, you can prove I'm just a fake. I'm just making that stuff up. Because they feel aware of this. Ishmael, all those liars, they feel aware, they're fully aware of this. They never stepped up to claim it because they don't represent Elijah Muhammad. He's bait. Elijah Muhammad is bait. You know what happens with bait? It's to catch you, hook you. And then terrible things happen to you once you get hooked. Because they got to draw you in. Because the target is destroy the nation of Islam. That's what FBI said. Destroy the nation of Islam. They draw you in. And then they draw you in with honey and fill you up with shit. Draw you with honey, you got to go get the honey. You get a mouthful of shit. You get full of shit all over. That's all you get from them. That's why they don't collect this. They can't. But we're going to talk about this so-called million man farce. I tell you, that's the hardest part of my week, brothers and sisters. Listen to that bullshit. And today was like 3 hours. Oh, man. I was fit to be tired. Total bullshit. So we're going to get into that. But first, a couple of things.
Do you then believe in a part of the book and disbelieve in the other? What then is the reward of such among you as do this but disgrace in the life of this world, and on the day of resurrection they shall be sent back to the most grievous chastisement? And Allah is not heedless of what you do. 86 These are they who buy the life of this world for the hereafter, so their chastisement shall not be lightened, nor shall they be helped.
See, brothers and sisters, they do this all the time. They lie. He talk about 5 scriptures today. This made other. What we do? Feed Abraham. And 400 years here. Somebody Elijah and Aaron, but never mentioned Joshua. One time. Never mentioned the message of covenant, not one time, and they're both included there. In fact, what's the covenant? The return home. Didn't mention that either. We ain't going nowhere. He wants America to be healed. Unless it clearly say, the God clearly said, it cannot be healed. It cannot be, what's the word he used? I forgot the word he used. In other words, got the word. Anyway, they can't be healed. But he wants to heal America. He said, it can't be. He said, and he has to destroy him, remove him off the planet. But Farrakhan has different ideas, but he claims he represents the God. He claims he represents Elijah Muhammad. Elijah Muhammad says, no, they're wicked. Cannot be redeemed. That's not the word they use. These are the word. I can't think where it is right now. Can't be. But he claims he can. Says all the prophets and messengers tried, it didn't work. But he's going to do it. Like the messenger said, we're going home. Said they're not devils. And we're going to reconcile with them. We need to reconcile with them. So what do you make of it? What do you make of it? Elijah Muhammad is the bait to draw you in, to eradicate everything, all of it. Because they have eradicated. They're not teaching Elijah Muhammad's teachings. If you go and read the whole thing about the, they mention it also. So I knew that was addressing what I was talking about during the week. Because they mentioned about the FBI plan. Then they say, oh, there's no leader. There's no black man in America that stands up and telling the original people what those got planned for them. Well, it sure ain't been him. I've been doing 35 years. Got proof. Just go check all my presentations. That's all I've been wanting. And they're going to attack us. Why? Basically win. Multiple videos, plenty of videos, hundreds of videos out there talking about it. No black man in America talking about America. They show me where he talks about it. Oh, I want America to be healed. I don't see nothing happening in America. We ain't going nowhere. So if America do these things to us, and he's been warned about it, then why we? Let me one, and these clowns here, if you have any idea what's happening to them, see, I'm trying to explain to you, bro. It's not mystery God doing these things. It says, vengeance is mine, said the Lord. Okay, what did you pay attention to that? It says, vengeance is mine, said the Lord, and I will repay. And I will judge that nation. Right? He says that too. He says, we're going to get in that in a minute. I will judge. Okay. But then he tells you there, doing them as they done to you double. Wait a minute. I'm the vengeance is mine, said the Lord. I will repay. I will judge the nation. But you, tell me the Lord is you. This is yours. I put not two for two. They took yours. Ours. They did to us. And that's an opposite reaction. So we the God that's going to do it, return the favor back to them. It's not going to mystery God doing it. Nobody in heaven is going to say, okay, wave a wand. You're going to do it. But you got to come through knowledge of self first. You're going to wake up. You know, they know about this. You know, I don't want to go into details, brothers and sisters, but you know, it's all over the place. You know, if you go back, they call it mythology. I mean, I've studied everything. The mythology tells you about it. You know, they have mythology, you know, the movie Thor and Odin and all this stuff, you know. That was a religion. That was based on a fighting religion. And you call it mythology now, but that was scripture. Remember, every nation has scripture. So what scriptures they have? Every nation had guys. What scripture? They have what you call the Bible. What you call mythology, that was their scripture. You know, just like what they call can't think of the name. I'll come back to it. But see, what they believed was they were going to slay these two titans, these powerful titans. And they built their kingdom off these titans, out of these titans. Odin. Remember, Odin got blind in one eye. Remember, the Jarl got the same thing. They're the same person. Odin was blind in one eye. You see who that played Odin? Right? What? The Jarl, remember, he got one eye also. They're the same person, the same. But you call it mythology now. It says there'd be a great war. At the end, it'd be like two winners or something like that. I can't say, Zoroaster. That's what I would think of Zoroaster about the Persians. That's religion too, Zoroasters. That was before they became Muslim. Zoroaster. But anyway, it said at the end there'll be this great war. And they'll fight against these two titans and they'll lose. That's right. These are Vikings. These are Europeans like the British and all of them, before they became British and all that kind of stuff, right? Norwegians and stuff. They would lose the war, but it'd be a great war. If they die fighting, if they die fighting, they go to Valhalla. Valhalla. Look at the spelling of Valhalla. The wall of Allah. The hall of Allah, rather. The hall of Allah. You see, I know you don't pay attention. See, I pay attention to everything. I study every religion out there. Everyone I'm aware of. Buddhism, Hinduism, Jehovah's Witness. It's like that. They made that name Jehovah up. If you go look at it, they made the name up. They don't know what the name is. Nobody knew what the name was because they took the vowels out. Nobody knew what the vowels was in there. It's like you see SHT. So he said, well, it must be shot. It could be shit. It could be shut. It depends on what the vowel is. So they said, well, they put these vowels in to come with, I think the thing was Yahweh, YHW something. Right? And so they said, well, and the reason they did that because they didn't want to use the name. It's actually in the scripture. Allah. They will call themselves Allah witness. See, all these little things nobody pays attention to. And they get away with it because nobody goes to look into it. Maybe that's made up names like Jesus made up name too. Anyway, it's a great conspiracy out there, brothers and sisters. Great conspiracy. Nobody's paying attention to it. They get away with it because that's what Scripture says. Because you didn't believe in the truth, then you get strong delusions. Kind of same thing. They talk about he's Aaron. He's Aaron. Aaron wasn't Moses' helper. He was while Moses present. There was no good tyrant betrayer when he was doing exactly what Aaron's doing. We're doing after Moses left. Exactly what Farrakhan's doing. But somehow they don't see that part. It's right there. It's right there. So they said, why is all this happening? They try to get some off the wall explanation. I mean, listen more on brothers and sisters. But these clowns right here. Oh, what was it? You just gonna have to see it, brothers and sisters, because nobody's listening to me. That's not a problem for me, it's a problem for them. If I tell you house on fire and you ain't listening to me, who's the problem? Who got the problem? I mean, you got everything all backwards. If I tell you house on fire, it's on fire, and you don't listen to me, whose problem is that? Is that my problem? I'm warning you, but it tells you when that shit hit the fan, the lamb is taken out of here. Time of Jacob trouble, he taken right out of it. I won't be here when all this shit hit. When shit rolls in, I won't be here. You will. So whose problem is that? I told you, I did my job, so I'm out. This line, this much, he never asked for money. I said, watch the whole thing to him, man. I had a hard time. I I kept saying, is it over it? He never asked for money, nothing that did, and he's asked for money. He wanted to have this big money program. But he never produced anything. He trying to do it himself. He never did that. In fact, they actually tore the Nation of Islam down. Him and Wallace, they tore it down. There's no bullshit. There's no question about it. I was there. Let's move on, brothers and sisters. I want to keep it. I don't want to talk too long about this because this is brain cancer talking. I'm telling you this. Whoa, man. Now watch this. Now tell me, had this have any connection to Elijah Muhammad whatsoever? It has none. But if you never knew about Elijah, you ain't about to read his books. Well, they tell you they don't really advise read his books. They got some more bullshit. He done brought up right how to defend Farrakhan and what do you call it some more, you know, they couldn't because they wouldn't believe they wouldn't be Farrakhan for a minute. They did. Read it. Watch this, brothers and sisters.
I gotta do this. Do you mind? Yes, I'm gonna do something. I don't want to put my brother on the spot. See, this is this. This is something else. Love and faith transcends color. And the reason why we embrace Father Flagler as a brother is because we find him on the battlefield of justice, being a true disciple of Jesus. And the last thing I'll say is you'll never call us racist.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Because this day that we honor,
yes, sir,
Master Fard Muhammad, if you see an image of him, put his image up.
Yes, sir.
That's the man whose father was a black man and his mother a Caucasian. And how many of us have a parent that's a Caucasian or grandparent? It's not about color. It's about our submission to the will of God. And in that we find common ground and unity. So I'm only one shade lighter than you, so. And Mustafa maybe 4 more shades lighter. We a family.
Yes, sir.
Let's stay a family and be a family and love each other as God would have us to love each other. We love you, Father. Happy Savior's Day. Thank you. I had to do that. We love you.
One more time, brother.
Although the Nation of Islam, does not presently advocate violence by its members, the group does preach hatred of the white race and racial separatism. The membership of the Nation of Islam is organized and poses a real racial threat. The Nation of Islam is responsible for the largest black nationalist newspaper, which has been used by other black extremists. The Nation of Islam appears to be the personal fiefdom of Elijah Muhammad. When he dies, a power struggle can be expected and the Nation of Islam could change direction. We should be prepared for this eventuality. We should plan how to change the philosophy of the Nation of Islam to one of strictly religious and self-improvement orientation, deleting the race hatred and separate nationhood aspects. In this connection, Chicago should consider what counterintelligence action might be needed now or at the time of Elijah Muhammad's death to bring about such a change in Nation of Islam philosophy. Important considerations should include the identity, strengths, and weaknesses of any contenders for Nation of Islam leadership. What are the positions of our Bureau deletion informants in regard to leadership? How could potential leaders be turned or neutralized? The alternative to changing the philosophy of the Nation of Islam is the destruction of the organization. This might be accomplished through generating factionalism among the contenders for Elijah Muhammad's leadership or through legal action in probate court on his death. Chicago should consider the question of how to generate the factionalism necessary to destroy the Nation of Islam by splitting into several groups. Bureau deletion. Do you think that the FBI just folded and walked away? Read this document carefully. Did not the FBI accomplish each of their goals? Did not Farrakhan deliver everything the FBI wanted? We should plan to change the philosophy of the Nation of Islam to one of strictly religious and self-improvement orientation. Sunniism, Scientology. Deleting the race hatred. Don't call devils anymore. Deleting the separate nationhood aspects. We ain't going nowhere. No existing economic program. The reason why these facts are ignored is because those that surround him are demons, fools, idolaters and FBI agent handlers who make sure he stays on track. Farrakhan claims his father may have been a Jew. By J. Correspondent April 26, 1996. Sign up for Weekday J and get the latest on what's happening in the Jewish Bay Area. Washington, D.C. Louis Farrakhan suspects that his father may have been Jewish. At least that's what he tells Henry Louis Gates Jr. in the current issue of the New Yorker magazine. Speaking of his father's white Portuguese parents, the Nation of Islam leader said, "I'm going to tell you something. You really want to know what I think? I think they were members of the Jewish community." He added, "I believe that in my blood, and not in a bad way. Because when I was a little boy I used to love listening to the Jewish cantors in Boston. They had a program, and every week I would listen. I was struck by the cantor, and I've always loved the way they sing or recite the Torah." Gates, citing an academic source, says Farrakhan's assertion about his lineage is highly probable given that nearly all people of Iberian descent in Jamaica and Barbados are of Sephardic Jewish ancestry. Farrakhan was born in 1933, the son of May Clark, who was from Barbados. He was named Gene after his father, a light-skinned man with straight hair from Jamaica. His father, Gates writes, was a philanderer whom the family rarely saw. "If in my lineage there are Jews, I would hope that in the end, before my life is over, I not only will have rendered a service to my own beloved community of black people but will also have rendered a service to the Jewish community," Farrakhan was quoted as saying. In the interview with Gates, which reportedly lasted 9 hours, the Nation of Islam leader also made reference to wise Jews who plan evil, the international conspiracy of Jewish bankers and overwhelming Jewish complicity in the slave trade. Jewish groups expressed outrage over Farrakhan's latest public statements. Farrakhan's effort to make it appear that he is merely criticizing the evil he finds in his own Jewish antecedents is a reflection of the bizarre and ludicrous nature of his entire behavior towards Jews, Phil Baum, executive director of the American Jewish Congress, said in a statement. Meanwhile, a planned protest against the Anti-Defamation League of B'nai B'rith fizzled last
Pour out pour upon the house of David, and upon him have his Jerusalem, spirit of grace and supplications. They shall look upon me whom they have pierced. They shall mourn for him, as one mourn for his only son. Shall be business for him, and shall be in business for him, and for one that is business for his firstborn. They're talking about the Son of Man here, mention of covenant. He sacrificed his life to get the information to him. They pay no heed. But now they instead of, I'm sorry, I no, well, I'm not interested in hearing it myself. To tell you the truth, but that's the spirit they're going to have. But then he realized that it was duped by those clowns out there. Anyway, let's move on, brothers and sisters.
I have trodden the winepress alone, and of the people there was none with me, for I will tread them in mine anger, and trample them in my fury, and their blood shall be sprinkled upon my garments, and I will stain all my raiment. For the day of vengeance is in mine heart, and the year of my redeemed is come. 5 And I looked, and there was none to help, and I wondered that there was none to uphold, therefore mine own arm brought salvation unto me, and my fury, it upheld me. 6 And I will tread down the people in mine anger, and make them drunk in my fury, and I will bring down their strength to the earth.
See, brothers and sisters, things I've been showing, there's no resemblance to anything FARCE I'm talking about. No resemblance whatsoever. This is this. This is this. It says, no way. You can't fix them. That says all of these choices, all of them are wicked, 100%. Because no. But he claims he's representing the God, and so he knows better than the God. You know what I'm saying? It says they can't be fixed. It's impossible. They had to be removed from the planet. And look how the Messiah's talking here. I would tread them down in my anger and try them and trample in my fury. Their blood be sprinkled upon my garment. I will stain my raiment, for they have vengeance mine, and the year of my redeemed has come. That's the spirit they have towards these devils. But they ain't devils anymore. This is clear. This easy stuff, brothers and sisters. They say, why are people misled? Well, he's stupid. They want to be misled. They don't care. It doesn't matter to us. Once we tell you the house on fire, we tell you it doesn't matter to me whether you come out or not. Then you get your ass burned. You come out. That's up to you. I just told you. My job was to tell you house on fire. They say no man is told. Well, I've been warning you, like I said, I've been warning for 35 years. This day is coming. They're going to attack us. Well, they know. They're well aware of that. But see, they lie. They first say, in the name of the law, and then see just lie their ass off. And I can prove that everything is one lie after another, after another, after another, after another. It's total lies over there. And right now they box in a corner. Because they got you believing you don't have a vision with them. What's your vision with them? See, if you listen to what he's saying, this so-called million man farce, we got to forgive. Reconciliation. Reconciliation? That's not what the scriptures say. So I would judge that nation. No reconciliation. Destruction. No, we got to forgive. That's part of this eight-part program. We got to forgive. That's not what you say about. No, we ain't got to forgive a goddamn thing. At least I ain't. Scripture don't tell us to forgive. It says it's going to judge this nation. Because he's one of them. Let me move on, brothers and sisters. So let me get this over fast as I can. Because I'm telling you, it's like, dealing with these clowns like eating shit. I mean, I think eating shit's probably better than dealing with those clowns because it's sick. They're sick over there. I mean, if you was with Elijah and you saw this shit, make you sick. If you was with Elijah and you was there sitting with Elijah and you believe in Elijah, you was there and I'm 100%. Because like I said, I gave everything. Just to find Elijah. And when I found him, I gave everything. Went to I was homeless for 6 months. I went through all kinds of things once I finally found Elijah and got with him. That just slowed me down one bit. I remember, like I said, I got sick because I was doing that super fasting. Because everything Elijah said do, I took it to the extreme. That was me, right? And I said, man, this man, ooh, Elijah, I never seen anybody like him. My father had passed out 14. I said, man, you keep my father, Elijah. Everything he said, I was right there. I went on some super fasting, blow blood sugar, start hallucinating. I didn't realize that was the case. Ended up in Hawaii somewhere, lost. Took about 6 months to finally work and not get enough money to get back here. I was homeless about 6 months in Chicago. Imagine that. Or to just got started winter, literally see the abandoned buildings. I asked anybody to help me. I ain't steal from anybody either. I went back to the nation. I told what happened. The lieutenants, they wanted to tear me apart. Man, this brother, he ain't been around 6 months, man. And well, actually, it was 6 months. Then 6 months go by, and by the time I went back there, I think I was 2 months back here before I went back there because I had nothing. I had to halfway deep. I didn't really have any decent clothes. I had some basic. So I went back and reported. So what happened? The lieutenant, they ain't been here. They was attacking me. But Supreme Captain Remy Sharif, he was cool. He looked at my record. He said, "Man, this brother took care of business when he was here." I said, "Brother Captain, I was just sick." Okay. So I got sick. I told what happened. Lieutenants didn't want to hear that. Pull me, tear me apart. He said, "Well, brother, look, you can't come back like that because I was messed up." I gave him a combat boots on, just barely enough to come inside, halfway, civil. You can't come back there, brother. Get yourself together, come on back. Back out, right? And just before winter came in, I finally, I was walking around the street. I see anybody move. They can help you move. Give me a few bucks, whatever. They had this thing, Jesse Jack had this bread biscuit, I forgot to call it, program. Right? They give you a free meal. Right? I was still in the abandoned building. I had to walk about 2 miles over there to get the meal. If they were poor, I couldn't eat it, so that's how I survived. When I got me a day labor job, they had the Kelly girl thing at the time, you work. Send you out someplace, your garbage or whatever. Got enough money to get me a hotel room. Got me a job at one of the businesses, as a dishwasher. Case closed. Move on from there. Wasn't nothing going to stop me. I'm sticking with that man. And then these clowns came along with their bullshit. I worked my way up until I was foreman in the Hamspeak newspaper. Night foreman. These guys go, they're bullshit. They can talk that shit they talking now. They can talk all the goddamn shit they want to. I was there. I mean, he's a goddamn liar. And my wife at the time, she passed. She ran the MGT Just Shop. And she had a conversation with him when the message departed. One day I'll reveal what she said to me. What he had said to her. It's on. He was a punk and liar back days, a punk and liar right now. In fact, he's out of it. He's out of it. See, the thing is, they've deceived you because they've told you, what have they told you? They've told you that eternally the nation Islam. So that means anybody after him, right? And Farrakhan's his teacher, so by definition, he's his minister. So or your student. So by definition, he just followed. And after that, that's it. It's all over after that. That's not what scripture say. They tell you that. So see, they're in the box of the corner now. Because Farrakhan can't even wipe his own ass right now. He's messed up. They can talk all that crap they want. He's messed up. He can't wipe his own ass. He barely talk. Talk at all. So they make plans trying to take over. But the point is, they box on the corner. Who's supposed to do that? Because according to him, Farrakhan was it. Elijah was eternally a nation Islam. He's going to be forever. And Farrakhan was just his student. So Farrakhan goes, Elijah ain't around. Because they not preaching the scripture. So they put themselves in the corner. So they run around right now. How are we going to do this? How are we going to do this? How are we going to get that money coming in? They depend upon it. So they making all kinds of shit don't make any sense. None of it ever made sense to begin with. Let's move on, brothers and sisters. Okay, so we'll get to Million Man Farce. It's farce. Let's note a couple of things. I'm talking to people that got a brain that's seeking the message of the covenant, because that's what they said they'd be seeking. And the Exodus tell you the same thing. Because as soon as the time came, they departed from Aaron. They said, Moses came and said, who was the Lord? And they say, who is me? I didn't say who is with me. He said, oh, the Lord. So the message of the covenant, because that's who he's defined as Lord in Malachi, coming to him. And they left. All the Levites came to him. But Aaron, the rest of them stayed with Aaron because he came to Aaron's camp. I mean, this, you have to, in his computer, figure that one out. He went to Aaron's camp and pulled out the people that wasn't with Aaron. Because if they was with Aaron, they would have stayed. The ones with them that was with the mess of covenant, those seeking the mess, they left, and they killed all the Aaron and all the followers. That's what it says there. Now tell me I'm wrong. So you got, so like I said, you just follow Exodus. So they say part of the book is another. So the point is that based on that idea they having, then if Farrakhan goes, there's no body, there's no vision. Who's supposed to take charge? They can't find a way to explain that. Because then Farrakhan was it. He's supposed to make the establishment, right? Whatever. So I guess God supposed to come back with it. Because once he leaves, they can't choose to just pick anybody. Who they gonna say he is? He backs up against the corner. That's not what Exodus says at all. Exodus says something totally different. But they lie, so they say in the name of a lie, but see just a lie. I mean, the punishment on them would be, like I said, the most grievous chastisement. I'll give you some ideas, but I'm not going to do it. I'll tell you a couple punishments they're going to have, but I'm not going to do it. You see it when it comes. And believe me, ooh, it was something that you couldn't imagine. Most grievous chastisement. Right? Death is not a chastisement. Death is not a chastisement. That you're dead, you feel nothing. Chastisement becomes pain. Because what they did. You gotta understand, if you believe in the fundamental principle of the universe, every action has opposite reaction, no one's immune from that. And then you say, what they're doing in the name of Allah, what's the price for what they're doing? There's no principle. I'm going to talk about this all day. Let me say it now since it came to mind. Okay. False Israel pretend to be us. So they get a lot of things coming to them that should come to us. That's stealing. So no, if you take more, like I said, spend out what we give you. So like I said, if everybody gets $1,000 a day, and you end up taking $500 for 10 people, you got $5,000 that you ain't supposed to have. If you understand it, that's me $5,000 worth of bad luck. Yeah, and that bad luck can show up in all kinds of ways. It can show up retaliation from the people you took it from. Right? Or it can show up in a cancer, accident. It There are all kinds of ways, but he's going to get it immediately. You understand? That's just the way it works. It's mathematics. That's something I'm making up. That's not philosophy. And somebody prove me wrong. Listen, you can't, because that's the mathematics of it. So if you go out here and you say, okay, I'm Stevie Wonder, and you ain't. No, I don't want to use that one. Let's use one. Okay, you go out, you say you're son of man, like, oh, son of man clown, then he has people money and stuff. Now he's doing it in that name. So in other words, he getting things using that name that shouldn't he have. Right? That things that's why it says Aaron or Pharaoh can't be robbing the nation. What do you mean robbing the nation? He's robbing it. If you read that carefully, who was the nation supposed to go to? The message of the covenant. That's what he was seeking. He heard him come in Elijah's temple, and the message suddenly coming, who abides at David's standing. His appearance, brother. So the nation was transferred over to him, because that's what eventually happened in Exodus. It was transferred from Moses over to Joshua. It bypassed Aaron. So if he gets it, and the things that was supposed to come to the control that's supposed to come to the message of the covenant, right? Because Elijah prepared the way for him, so he put the energy in it, do that, and then the energy that went in to set that up, and then energy, and then what you had to do to break the seals. Remember, had to break seals yet, like he was slain from the foundation of earth. So the things you had to do to become that. In other words, you become that, and then these things, this is the control you would have because you put the let me put it another way. You invested in this. You put your investment. You see, you invested $1 million or something, and someone took it to that $1 million. They didn't invest anything. They took your $1 million. They got $1 million they're supposed to have. Now you don't have $1 million you should have. Put that away. So in other words, to be the messenger of the covenant, you have to go through a lot of suffering and things. Because in other words, if you to be the Hulk, you got to go to the gym. Let me do it that way. Say you, for instance, you going, man, you lift everything, man. You become the Hulk, man. You spend hours at the gym and everything. You get all the muscle and everything else, right? Then somebody come along and say, hey, I'm the Hulk. And they get all the accolades and everything. They didn't put the effort in. They build bad luck for themselves, a lot of it. Because people, hey man, they see, hey man, they like him and they do all the kind of stuff that they would be given to the Hulk. Right? They fans and they getting all the accolades and everything. And oh man, that guy's great, man. Look how good. And can he come fight you in my house, man? And the girls, man, after him and everything. But he pretended to be a he. So he's getting all of that. That's all stolen stuff. You got to pay for all that. That's why I said the man was robbing God. Cancer, because he's got the nation that don't belong to him. Some petition would have a nation who said Elijah's seat, but didn't belong to him. So he was getting something that he didn't make. He didn't. Now, if the person goes out there, they put as much effort in as they put the Hulk in. They get the same thing the Hulk get. So they go and steal his stuff. Okay, let me that was a little complicated, right? Okay. That's a quality thing. Because in other words, he got a $1 million gold mine, I got a $1 million shit farm. Where's $1 million? So I trick him somehow. When I get the gold mine, he gets shit farm. Hey, there's no issue there. I mean, I got over, of course. I still have enough power to control $1 million, right? I got to go. He got the shit. That's what the devil did to us, basically. I don't know if you understand that concept. No problem there, because consequence say, hey, both of them got $1 million, both worth $1 million. That's what was slick. That's what we think Jacob used to pull off on Esau. Anyway, but there's no consequence there, because we control the quality. It's million for $1 million. The quality depends on, right? If I like $1 million worth of chocolate ice cream, you like $1 million worth of vanilla. As far as consequence is concerned, it's the same thing. It's $1 million. Both worth $1 million. It's more complicated. But in the case, then it goes to that suffering. So, say for instance, I went through 10 years of intense, what do they call it? Pain to build these muscles. Oh man, it was hard. 10 years, right? And you come along and you claim you me. And everybody's fighting you over and all the stuff. You get all things I should get that don't belong to you. But I put 10 years in, I invest that much, you haven't invested anything. So you got 10 years at the same in it that which I put in to get that. Now you got to pay it the same amount, if you understand. So it come to him in the form of cancer. So he had to suffer everything, but coming out of the way he don't like it. If you understand what I'm trying to say, brothers and sisters. That's why it says he'd be cursed with a curse. Because he got something that don't belong to him. So now he got that. You got $1 million don't belong to you. So now you got $1 million of bad luck. So it turns out now you keep the $1 million. He got the $1 million. But he got $1 million of bad luck. And it turned out to be a curse. I try to people understand when you look in the mirror, brother, and says that's what when you look, that's what your creation. That's not God's creation. When you look in the mirror, that's your creation. So if you got cancer, right, that was his creation. Because he did something he supposed to have no business doing. He took something that didn't belong to him. So that's how it came out. Energy. It took him in the most fundamental way. See? If you understand that. Let me move on. That might be too complicated, but it's a balance, brothers and sisters. So you go out and try to pretend you're something you ain't, or say you're something you ain't. You don't want to be doing that. I tell people, you don't go out and tell you're an injured warrior if you ain't an injured warrior. If you ain't doing what, because now you take, what's the qualification to be an injured warrior? If you ain't filling out qualification, you bring a negative to yourself. You leave alone. You know, he should have did what Wallace did. See, Wallace, and he was no damn good, and he hated his father. He destroyed his nation. But at least he didn't use Messer as a bait. See, he didn't put Messer's name on his bullshit. He didn't put the guy's name on his bullshit. He died of diabetes. He should have probably read how to live. He lived a short life. A bad one. He suffered for what he did, because he stole from the nation too. He ripped the nation off. Him and Watts for her family together, stole, ripped the nation off. Okay. Leave us with nothing. You can pay. You pay a price for what you do, brother. So you reap what you sow. I'm 76 years old. I have any cancer. They keep trying to. Oh man, you gotta go take this colon 10 like stuff. Then they get mad because I don't want to do that stuff. You see? I'm a good health to the doctor. I had to go to the doctor the other day. Tell me I got to go once a month or once every 6 months, something. How you doing? I'm doing great. They proceed to try to tell me I wouldn't do it great. Well, you need, I'm just saying, brothers and sisters, when you look in the mirror, what you see is what you created. If you don't understand, you understand nothing. It ain't Jesus got nothing to do with it. Allah had nothing to do with it. Krishna had nothing to do with it. Buddha had nothing to do with it. When you look in that mirror, what you see is what you created. So now people lost for lack of knowledge. Wait a minute. It's not about the lack of Jesus, or lack of Allah, or lack of Buddha. Lack of knowledge. Because they didn't have the knowledge. So they were working on false knowledge. So they know it, if you don't have knowledge, that means you don't know what to do with your energy. So now it's working against you. They lost for lack of knowledge, not lack of faith. Lack of knowledge. And I'm giving you knowledge. You do what you want to do with it. But when you look at that mirror, if you don't know anything, it's because you didn't try to know anything. Nobody's going to get a PhD, even get a lightning bolt in their ass. I got that thing I said, you don't know shit that I play all the time. Everything only I know. That's why I'd be a hypocrite if I'd be saying They don't know, and I'm saying stuff that I don't know either. I know everything on there. I know. Plus, I know they don't know anything. They're saying stuff they have no idea what they're talking about. Let me say this one more thing, and I was going to talk about it. I got a little something on it right now. But I was walking with my wife this morning. I was explaining her, right? And I was saying this world, what's driving this world is the steel Bible. I should play that. I think I will. I will at the end, if I remember. What's driving this world is the steel Bible. Because that was the guidance that was given to Adam. See? But when Adam's time was over, the Bible would be unsealed. And that would be the guidance given to you because you're going into paradise if you accept it. See, the ones that accepted the sealed Bible, they become preeminent. No? Okay, what happened? About 500 years ago, 1,000 years, when they so-called got the Bible, Catholic Church, the people was forbidden to read the Bible. Only people read the Bible was a priest, the Pope, maybe a king, maybe. And so they told them what it was. And that went on for 1,000 years. And that's went on for 1,000 years. And so when Muhammad was given the Quran prevailed. Prevailed. And then what happened? About 5 years, 100 years ago, the people broke away from the Catholic Church, started the Protestant movement, protest, where it comes from. They start reading the Bible, the Old Testament, following what it says. That's Adam. Because that was scripture for the time. People tell me, Quran, no, there's no scripture forever. That Muhammad taught you that. You can keep giving scripture because times keep changing, so you need to upgrade the information you need. You can't use the information for spring in the summer. You can't use the information for the summer in the winter. You need new scripture, you need new guidance for each season. And you got basically 4 seasons every 24,000 years. Each season, that's where the 6,000 years comes from. 6 times 4 is 24,000 years. So the Quran was for a season. And then they got sealed Bible, Adam got sealed Bible, and then boom, that prevailed. Nobody could defeat them. They stepped on everybody, stepped on us, they stepped on the Sunnis, stepped on the Quran, stepped on all of it. This clown on there talking about, I forgot what he says. He says, read these verses 10 times and allow it to defeat your enemies or something. I said, man, why don't you, these dumbass people, well, if that's the case, why don't all you Sunnis rise 10 times, then you defeat all, come on, it's bullshit. I tell you, ooh. Anyway, the thing is that I think I want to talk about that. I want to get to my main subject here, brothers and sisters. The thing is that you have scripture each season. I think I have something at the end I want to elaborate on that more. And so when they got to that, nobody could defeat them. The sealed Bible. The sealed Bible says the Bible says we him, according to them, their interpretation. So we were supposed to be enslaved. They enslaved us. Israel, okay. Okay, they suddenly, now they got them, and they put seed Abraham, and that's all stored together, right? And what I'm getting to is that that's what I want to show a little later if I can remember to do it. The American foreign policy is based on this, and they actually people said this guy named Hagee. He's one of the top evangelists. He said American foreign policy is based on it, and that's what I was telling my wife this morning. And then I read across the scripture. They said the same thing. They support it. American foreign policy. Remember, America's supposed to be religions separated from politics, right? Okay. So they're not supposed to be building. Religion's supposed to be separated. Separated church and state. So why are they following church dogma? That's supposed to be against the Constitution. But I was explaining to her, I said, well, you see why they're doing things. They're doing it because of what they see in the sealed Bible. Because the sealed Bible says Babylon will be taken down, Remember, all these things supposed to happen before Jesus came back. But Babylon's them is Iraq. That's why they went to Iraq. Damascus will be destroyed in one day, right? Damascus, Syria. That's why it went after Syria. You understand? So Lebanon, all these things, right? Because what they're doing, they're trying to bring around so-called the rapture. And so based on interpretation, right, it says Gog is going to attack Israel. And then when Gog attacked Israel, that's going to be the end of Israel. And they're going to attack Israel, but at the last minute, Israel going to convert to call on Jesus, and that's going to bring Jesus back. Because they would say, "Oh, we believe in Jesus now," and Jesus will come back and destroy everybody. That's the story. And if I don't forget, I'm gonna play that when he's saying this stuff. And if you understand what's in their minds, with their mental, it's actually a more powerful force that's driving it, but their mentality is driving it. The mentality, the quality of their destruction, that's what's driving it. It's survival. And so you had this clown called Eric, whatever his name is, what was his name? Whatever. He's with Elijah. Talking about God is Russia. No, God is not Russia. That's their misinterpretation. See? Because we the true seed of Abraham. You understand? And God is America. They're going to attack us. That's why they hate Russia so much. Because they said Russia's, we got to protect Israel because, you got to love, remember, who loves Israel supposed to be loved? Who helps Israel help? Who curses Israel? Who blesses Israel be blessed? Who curses Israel be cursed? So they say that's false Israel there. That's why you got to go all in. But we the true is, but they cursing us. You get it? They're cursing us. We the true seed of Abraham. We the true Israel. That's why you use Israel, but they got the real spell wrong because they not Israel. We Israel. We Israel. So no, that's a little subtle for you. Because spell it right. Israel, Israel. We Israel. But they spell this Israel. That means they not Israel. Anyway, if you put it together, right? You put it together, it means if we real true Israel, America's God, they're gonna attack us. But the way they have it, because Israel say bless them, they cursing us, right? And they blessing them. But they take a blessing that we should be getting. You understand what I'm saying? So they're going to get the pay. Now they get the blessing we get, so we end up going to Holocaust because they getting the blessings that we the guys. So now they're gonna go through a Holocaust. They say they got to suffer the pains that took to go through. Like I said, if you go out there and you spend 10 years lifting weight like that, somebody steal your identity, then all the energy you put in the pain you put in there, they got to go through the same pain because they taking something that don't belong to them. So it might come to them a different way, but they're going to suffer. You understand? They're going to suffer this pain. It might not come in lifting weights. Might come in maybe a terrible cancer or something. See? So that means they're going to suffer the Holocaust because that's what it takes to be Israel. They play Israel, so they're going to go through a Holocaust. It's going to be terrible for them, a bloodbath that you can't imagine. So you steal somebody's identity. It's by identity, you don't know what you're doing. I keep trying to tell people, start learning how math works. They can go through that. So it's going to be terrible for them. A bloodbath you can't imagine. Okay? And who's cursed? You got it backwards. They're the ones supposed to be slaves, and we. You understand? Hope not get too complicated, brothers and sisters. I'll get my main point in a minute. Let me try to put it in the simplest way. They're getting the blessing that should have come to us. But they suffered the pain they went through to get those blessings. So they didn't have to, since they got the blessing, they would have to get the pain They took to get those blessings. They don't get it. You understand now? And the pains will come into the destruction. It's going to be terrible, horrific. Get it? We're going to get the blessings that we're supposed to get. But the pain, look how much pain we went through. That's how much blessings we're about to get. We got 5 years hard for hardcore. The blessings going to be off the page because the Holocaust is the worst ever. You know what I'm saying? So now they got our blessings. We got the pain. So now we get ready to get the blessing. They're going to get the pain. You get it? I'm trying to make it simple as possible. That's if you want it. If you want it. That's going to force on you. And so that's why they hate Russia so much, because they say, oh, Russia is Gog. They're going to attack Israel. That's why they're provoking Russia so much. See, you understand? Because they can go on a backward understanding of Scripture. But America's really Gog. They're going to attack us. Okay, you got it? Okay. So, Million Man Farce. Let me see what I got here. Okay, see here, brothers and sisters? And see, here's a man. See, we underwater, right? We're like a balloon underwater. And a man holding us down, got his foot on top, holding us down underwater. And we're a balloon. We don't belong underwater, right? But he's holding us down underwater. So who do you blame for being underwater? You blame the balloon, us, or do you blame what's holding us underwater? Which one do you blame? Answer that question. Which one do you blame? Let me say it again. Which one do you blame if you got a brain? Which one do you blame for being underwater? Us, the balloon, or what's holding us under the water? See? But Farrakhan, he's blaming us for being under the water. He ain't blaming the ones that's putting us under the water. So who that make him? See what I'm saying? He's accusing us. You're sinful, you're wicked. You got to come from out under that water. How can we come under the water as long as they keep holding us down under the water? How can we come out from under that water? They're holding us down under the water. See, we got to get right. We got to get righteous. No. We down in that condition we're in right now because they hold us underwater, and in fact, they took a force to push us under, and it takes a force to keep us under. So if we still underwater, that means the force is still there. We just can't see it. You don't see the wind, but you see the leaves shaking. You're going to say, oh, ain't no wind, because you don't see it. No, you see the leaves shake, that's the evidence the wind is blowing. And the evidence that they still doing to us, they still hate us, it's the fact we're still in the condition we're in. I mean, God damn, that's so simple. We're in the condition we're in, this is not nature. Everything refers to its nature. You take a lion or whatever, you can train him up, put him whatever in a cage or whatever, but if you leave him alone, he's going to revert back to his nature. Only way he's doing that stuff because you keep on forcing him to be in that condition. Leave a horse alone a while after he's going to return back to a stallion again. That's his nature. He's not that because you hold him down, you force him to stay in that condition. Everything refers to its unnatural condition, its natural nature. So if we act on our nature, it's because there's a force that's causing us to act on our nature, and it still exists. It still exists. That means even though you don't see it, you know you got the evidence. That means that whatever they're doing, whatever they're doing, their plans, all the stuff they're doing is keeping us under. They don't care how much they smile, what they say, the legislation, whatever. If we're still under, that means they're still applying the force to keep us under. That's simple. So what's the solution? Get away. Get away, that's the solution. But friends, no, stay here. So who is he working for? Do you see the thing I said earlier about the FBI thing? He gave me every point. If you go read, he get every point to ask for. Those ain't bills no more. We ain't going nowhere. Self-improvement and religion instead of separating like Sunnis and Scientology. He got every point to ask for. Every point. Who's he working for? And then he's accusing us. You're sinful. You're wicked. You got to stop doing that. How are we going to stop? Get out from under water. You got to get from under that water. Well, Charles to move that foot. And we get from under water. Or get the hell, move away from under them. Get away from them. But no, you stay right there, but you're sinful. We ain't going nowhere, but you're sinful. You're wicked. That's impossible. If you got a balloon underwater, you're holding the water, it's impossible to come up unless it moves away from under the foot. Get out of America. Otherwise, we'll stay in the water as long as that foot's there. The solution is get the hell out of here. But he said, no, stay there. But you, and then they're going to blame you. But why are you under that water? You're stupid. You're underwater. Well, somebody's holding us underwater. You don't want to blame what's holding us underwater. It ain't the devil's fault. They ain't devils. We got to reconcile with them. He's going to reform them. He's going to make America better. We're going to reform. We're going to reconcile and everything else. We got to forgive them. That's what he's saying. That's one of his programs, forgiveness. He don't say actually forgive them, but that's what it means, because that's you got to forgive all everybody done something to you. That's what it said. You got to forgive people who done anything to you. That's part of healing. God damn, that's fucking shit. I'm not forgiving a goddamn thing. Fuck them. I ain't giving a goddamn thing. Fuck them. Do what the devil has done to you. You better read the spirit of the Messiah. He come to fuck shit up. He ain't come to heal nothing. Heal you if you want to be healed. You better get it straight. He ain't coming for you prostitute. He come to kick ass and angry. How you talking? You're angry. He said full of wrath. How you talking? You're full of wrath. He said, hey, you move your little booty. I'm gonna fuck you up. That's the spirit he's coming with, and that's what he's going to do to these devils. He accusing us. That's why he's the accuser. All that so-called me march. Now, it was so great that I think he's talking about, how come they talking about the second one? What happened to the second one? Nobody showed up on the second one. He didn't even show up. He a coward. He took credit for something that wasn't really his on the first one. And the thing is, it was million, 2 million, how many was there? Farrakhan had less than 1,000 followers. Even if he had 10,000 followers, that's a minor percentage of what was there. So if they was with him, how can they join him? How can they? He actually lost following after the so-called Million Man March. Went down. The ones that's with him wasn't that close with him anyway. But he tried to pretend like it was his thing. Well, then he should have had millions of followers after that, tens of thousands. No, he actually let down. How can they follow him? And all the shit he's claimed they're supposed to do, they ain't do none of that. None of that stuff happened. Not any of it. In fact, the so-called black cities, crime, everything is worse than ever it was. Especially in Chicago, where he's hometown. It's all bullshit. Million Man farce. It was all about taking devils off the hook. It's our problem. We got to redeem. We got to feel right. We got to stop sinning. We got to be nice to each other. We got to be nice. Yeah. But who's causing that problem? Who's causing this? That's not our nature. Get away from these devils. No, they're all right. We're the problem. We're sinful. You're wicked. You got to stop being that. That's not the master. That Elijah Muhammad never taught anything like that, and neither does the lessons. Master Muhammad never said anything. He said, we're righteous Muslims, so did Elijah. That's him. Because his father's a devil. He's with them. He's constantly accusing us. It says, the accuser of our brethren be cast down. When this war resumes, he's gone. He's virtually finished now. He's pitching shit in the bag. He can't wipe his own ass. Accusing us for being underwater. The people that put on the water and got no but love for them. You don't see that at all. See what I'm talking about, brothers and sisters? Million Man farce. You can't see that? If you can't see it, then fine. It means you ain't worthy. And you're gonna be straight right here. They got their foot on us and keep us under the head of 400, 500 years. And the part is the fact that we still the same condition we are. Right? Because now we start trying to, we soon start trying to revert back that stuff. What? We should take it and show white folks how we can be better. Man, fuck you, man. He heard about all those, every time black folks got away from white folks, started a city, they burned it down. Like, okay, if they see you doing better, they're going to love you. There's no evidence of that. Every time black folks got away and got a city or started community somebody else, white folks come and burn it down. We have so-called civil rights. You start standing up. Oh, did they admire that? No. They try to shut you down. They build prisons and everything else for your ass. They don't want to see you successful. Hang on with Farrakhan. He's doing his job. Because he's keeping you, he's drawing you to him, so I'm going to have to worry about your ass. See, because you will have no excuse. It's just so clear you have no excuse. So when judgment comes, when the dam breaks, you got nothing to say we're going to be interested in hearing. Nothing. Nothing you say we're going to be interested in hearing. Because this is just, it was so clear. And your apology is not going to mean anything. Nobody's going to hear it. Now watch this. See, he's doing Farrakhan only one telling us that's a lie. I've been saying for 35 years that they're setting us up to attack us. I got hundreds. Somebody told me I got thousands of videos out. I don't keep count. I know I got at least one a day. Since YouTube been what? That's in the thousands, I guess. They platformed me a couple of times. You know, so I'm pretty sure they're gonna do it soon again. It doesn't matter because did he have a YouTube? He has social media. So would the person called Jeezy have it? Did Moses have it? They took out empires. We were so stupid. But not by our fault. We're stupid. They made us stupid. And the solution is to get away from them. So as soon as we got away from them, we came together, a exceedingly great army. As soon as their foot was taken off us, we came together, a exceedingly great army. A exceedingly great army. United. Invincible. Once they got a foot off us. Because matter probably going to break their foot to 1,000 pieces.
Come on, let us deal wisely with them, lest they multiply, and it come to Come on, let us deal wisely with them, lest they multiply, and it come to pass, that, when there falleth out any war, they join also unto our enemies, and fight against us, and so get them up out of the land. They have said, Come, and let's wipe them out as a nation, so that the name of Israel will no longer be remembered.
So that's their plan against us. We're going to reconcile with them. We still messed up. When you hate something, you change it. When you hate something, you change it or you get rid of it. That's, everybody knows that, right? You keep something around you hate, that you don't have to. You change it or you get rid of it. And the more you hate, the more you change it. If you hate it 100%, you change it 100%. And you're still ain't satisfied, you get rid of it. Did they change us 100%? They change us 100%. I mean, I guess you again. They change us 100%. That means that, hey, I don't care what the fuck they say. You can listen to their mouth. All they do is lie. They change 100%. They try to change back. Remember this case of Ali? They loved him while he was Cassius. Soon as he became Ali, they hate him. They did everything they could to undermine him. Took his life and everything else. When try to regain your nature, they're going to come after you. They hate you 100%. So if you want to go along to bullshit that some of them like you and they touch nice, that's deception. You get a car salesman to he gonna come and tell you, hey man, that car's no damn good over there, man. I'm gonna sell you. No, he got cologne on, man. He got his hair all nice, comb and everything else. Look all pretty. Hey man, that's the best car you ever seen, man. Yeah, it's got 50,000 miles on it, man. But shit, that car, ooh, you want to lay back, man, rolling. That song go, man. Rolling in the back, six train, whatever that's something. Yeah, yeah, honey. It snakes. Okay, but that's up to you.
What Hagee said here, this is Christina Amanpour. I think that's her name. Yeah, Christina Amanpour. Listen to what he said about why we have to have this relationship with Israel, and he gives the biblical reason.
You said God's foreign policy statement?
Yes,
God has foreign policy statements?
absolutely.
And his is pro-Israel.
Concerning the Jewish people, that's his foreign policy statement.
Hagee is a Zionist, a Christian Zionist.
A Christian Zionist is someone that believes that the Bible supports Israel. God begins in the foreign policy statement of Israel in Genesis 12:3, saying, I will bless those who bless you, and I will curse those who curse you.
We're going to look at that full statement. Okay. So Hagee is saying that U.S. foreign policy is because of a biblical scripture. That is Genesis 12. Let's take a look at Genesis 12. We're learning today. Class is in session. Let's go ahead and pull this up. Make this a little bit bigger for the peeps in the back. Based. So Genesis 12. This is what he's referring to. The Lord had said to Abraham, go from your country, your people, and your father's household to the land I will show you. I will make you into a great nation, and I will bless you. I will make your name great, and you will be a blessing. I will bless those who bless you, and whoever curses you, I will curse. And all peoples on earth will be blessed through you. Couple of things. Let's break this down into three parts. Couple of things. Let's break this down into three parts. Number one, the United States has separation of church and state. So even if you do believe this, why is the U.S. government implementing foreign policy based on a biblical scripture? There's that. Two, let's say that this is true. We're going to get into who wrote all this. We'll get to that in a second. Let's say that this is true, okay? That this is what he said to Abraham. One of the other things that he said is, I will call you Israel, right? Like the people who follow you. Those are the followers of Abraham. But it really wasn't supposed to be a physical place. But for shits and giggles, let's say it is a physical place. If it is a physical place, and if it is true that the Palestinian people are the indigenous people, then that would mean that this physical place that is spoken of in the Bible is for the Palestinian people, not for people coming from Poland, Ukraine, Russia, New Jersey, if it is, you believe it's a physical place. 3, there are different interpretations of the Bible. So we can look at this and we can interpret this into different things.
See, brothers and sisters? Yeah, she got it. I told you. Their mental idea based on a sealed Bible. They make decisions based on that. I told you, the scriptures are your mind. I keep telling people that. That's the mind that was given to Adam. That's why I justified him enslaving us, because the sealed Bible says we're Ham, at least their interpretation of it. So it was all right to enslave us. See, that's sealed Bible that you understand. It's sealed. So that means it's right. You don't really know what it's saying. But the Bible will be unsealed by the Lamb, which Elijah never claimed to unseal the Bible, but we're told it's sealed. On Revelation's gospel. Angel. Matt Farmer never claimed that made that claim. No one's ever made that claim, as far as I know. See? I've unsealed it and got to prove it. Because the presentation explains how it works. It explains how everything is for the new real world's coming in. See, the sealed Bible, its time is over. The Quran time was over 500 years ago. The Quran was only supposed to last 1,000 years. Sunniism is as okay. We're talking about this bloodbath. I'm going to show you. I'm just talking about this bloodbath. See, if you understand what's seals broken, there's going to be a bloodbath in Europe, but primarily in the Middle East. That's going to be the first bloodbath. The bloodbath unimaginable, unprecedented time. When this war resumes, with a bloodbath that you can't, like, you never seen before. FARCE is going to be a primary victim of it. I'm going to give you some details. It's not watch the weather stuff. War resumes. If you read the scripture of Daniel, Iran's the king of the north. That's another thing. One of the reasons why they after Iran so much because they got their interpretation that Iran's king of the south. See, no, Iran's king of the north. That's why they thought they were going to take Iran down back in June. Because they operated on sealed Bible, which is wrong. Right, and they got the wrong interpretation of it. But it was their guidance for 500 years. At any rate, so they come back as a whirlwind. They're going to try total take over the Middle East, defeat all the nations of the Middle East. All the Sunni nations are going to defeat them decisively. It's going to take down false Israel. When they take down false Israel, America and Britain, that's Gog and Magog, will be kicked out of the Middle East. They'll be overrun too. I tell you, that's through the war of events. It's going to be America and Britain. I've been telling you, that's Gog and Magog for years now. They're the primary ones that are in the Middle East. False Israel is the Antichrist. They're going to be the ones fighting against Michael and his angels. The angels are the Shia. That's what that is. Chapter 12 an angel. And Saudi Arabia, all of them, they're going to be totally taken out. Taken out. False Israel, America and Britain be kicked out. They're going to run to Europe. In flames. They're going to make it. The blood's going to be so terrible. There'll be vengeance, and there will be nobody taking any names. They'll leave it under fire, worse than when they left Afghanistan. I ain't going to make it, but they're going to leave out there. It's going to be on fire. We're walking out, running out. You're going to see them run out like mad man on fire, getting the hell out of there. That's how bad it's going to be. Israel's going to be abandoned and surrounded, cut off. The food, just like they cut off the gas. I've been telling people for months. I told you what was coming in with back in September, a couple years ago. I said, when they started talking this peace and safety, 2 times they're going to do that. And it said that September, October, the war started. Anyway, the bottom line is, this is not watch the weather stuff. So we see Jerusalem surrounded by armies. Who controls Jerusalem? Their destruction. The Christians, oh no, I mean, they said destruction. Don't say they're near destruction, near destruction. Anyway, that's what's happening now. If you cut off, totally cut off. No food, anything. Like I said, they're writing their own obituary right now. Because when they're doing the gods, it's going to be back on them in spades. They'll be starving. They say, father eating the son and son eating father. Have drones flying over, and Palestinians are going to take vengeance on them like you can't imagine. Because now it's reversed. They will have no pity on them, none whatsoever. Because what they've been doing to the Palestinians, I was just going to do back to them. Them and the Houthis probably the only Arabs, except for the Egyptians, well, maybe that will escape the wrath of Iran. I mentioned it before. I mentioned it now. Egyptians, it's going to, when that war goes down, Egyptians going to betray false Israel and attack from behind. The angel explains. The angel explains that. Attack from behind. It's that stone that killed Goliath. That's another stone together. I'm not going into all that kind of detail today. So they go, come here. Totally break their power. Totally isolated. No water, no food, nothing. They have drones flying overhead. Anybody try to escape, they're going to get the most terrible torture. Because that's what been torturing the Palestinians. All they did is come back at them in spades. And the drones flying, so the whole world could see it's the evil that's coming upon them. It's going to be horrific. 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 Meanwhile, there'll be a bloodbath in Arabia. The sand's going to be soaked with blood. Because, see, you understand, the Sunni Arabs, they're the jinn. They don't know they're the jinn, but maybe they are the jinn. We can prove it again. We don't say things we can't prove here. Decisively prove it. Decisively. Not projectively. But see, they're going to think they're fighting for Mecca, they're fighting for Allah, they're fighting for Medina. So, they have to blow themselves up and everything else. It's going to be all in. All in. So they're going to be like a fight to the death between the Sunni and the Shia. Can you imagine that one? Neither one of them are afraid to die. I told you the leaders are afraid, at least in the Sunni area. Terrible fight. Trouble. It stands, the cities will not be harmed. Arabian cities will not be harmed because you will return. Said you return to buildings is not you. The homes is how the Bible says it. The homes that you have not built. No, I said they build over there now. It's for you, bro. Says it's not going to be harmed. Master Muhammad is not going to allow it to be harmed because he's going to be behind that war. It says Michael and his angels. He's going to be manifest that time. He's almost manifest now because I showed you a video. The Senate, this is not some conspiracy theory, where they had, this was 2 years ago, over in Arabia. One of those things you call UFOs flying around, and they shot a Hellfire missile at it and hit it. It didn't even move it. The missile exploded, broke in 1,000 pieces, and things went like when it was like a fly had landed on or something. Not even that. They're over there. Now, whether Master Muhammad has made himself known, because he said 12th Imam, they may not know it or not. He made himself known to them or not, I don't know. But he will be with them, it says. He will be with them in that fight. So when they come over there with their airplanes, they all these ships, there's all these aircraft carriers still right there. Forces will not be able to use their nuclear weapons. They'll be neutralized. But that's what they were saying, that Senate thing. They says these things monitor all our nuclear sites. And then when they come and go, and then the site is inoperable. You don't know how to do it. Anyway, they will not be able to do it. So I'm letting you know. That's about to happen there. A bloodbath that you never seen. The sands of Arabia will be soaked with blood. False Israel will be a flood of blood. A flood, overflowing. In the most cruel manner. What's the result of that? America, Britain's out there in flames, and they run to Europe. Europe will not ingratiate them, will not accept them, will not welcome them, because America and Britain is the reason why they're in conflict with Russia. Because they used to get Russian oil. America and Britain blew up the pipeline and all that kind of stuff. So now they depend on oil in the Middle East. You see where I'm going? They depend on oil from the Middle East. Keep their society going. But now that's cut off. Because they're part of You know, America and Britain, they associate with them, so they cut off all Europeans, except for Russia. And Russia don't need the oil because Russia has plenty of oil of its own. And so now the only source of oil they got is Russia. They got it's winter. They got to keep their people going. We see we moving into winter quickly. And this what I'm talking about right now, what happened before December. So you can hold me to that. I think it's gonna happen pretty soon, within the days. Even devils on the, they think it's gonna happen in days. That's no problem, no situation. But anyway, that's what's gonna happen. So when they run, they're going to make nice with Russia. And so now, that's why it says they're going to turn against America. If you read those 4 seals, the first horseman, the fourth, that's all talking about the 1/4 of the earth, talking about all the things going to happen to America. If you understand those aspects, I tell you to explain that. All the things going to happen to America is terrible. America's a target. When that war resumes, it's terrible. It's going to be terror here. But it resumes. It will resume soon. That's what's going to happen. So when they run out, they're going to be run out of here, thrown out, on fire. The ones that make it will leave out here with burns, fire, running back to Europe, hoping to be welcome in Europe because they got all these bases in Europe. But the bases, American bases, and Britain bases in Europe will be, most American bases will be under attack because now they're allied with Russia. So now they turned on America. So all their bases on attack over there now. So they run over there and they're going to be met with sword. Cut to pieces trying to get back their bases. And their bases are under attack. So the America's got to send all these troops over there to try to protect his bases. And so what happens here is America oil, they have to commandeer all the oil. Strategic Petroleum Reserve, look it up, SPR. So they're going to have to protect to fight this war. That means all of a sudden the oil's cut here. Now you got cut short of oil crisis here. Because they have to use it for the military. To go and fight over Europe. Because now they're not only fighting Russia, they fight all of Europe. All their bases on attack. Tens of thousands of men, maybe 100,000 of soldiers over there. They rushed away trying to protect them. So the full-blown war over there. That's what Armageddon is. That's the real Armageddon. And now there's a crisis over here because they had to take all the oil, commandeer all the oil that they produce, because they can't get it from the Middle East anymore. So they have to use their own oil, which is not that good. So now you got an oil crisis here. No oil, no electricity, lights, no heat. They got to take it like that. I run on the stores. I tell everybody, you better get at least a month worth of food if you can, or a couple of weeks anyway, and you don't have to cook it. That's your minimum. If I'm wrong, you still got the food, right? You can eat some other time. Because because when this happened, when they run, you don't want to run to the stores. The store be empty like in 5 minutes. If you're in there, you're gonna get killed. Because people are fighting 4/7 in there. You definitely want to come out there with some food in a basket, because they're gonna blow your head off and take it. So you just say, I ain't more in there. We have somebody, whatever comes out, I'm gonna take it from there. We don't be no law and order. All the time they be watching false Israel. False under siege. They see it's about to go. Once in that, because false Israel was a set up to keep you from. Elijah Muhammad gave us a vision. People without a vision perish. The Bible says, we have no vision. Now, Farrakhan's not giving you a vision, is he? What's the vision Farrakhan's giving you? Right now, it's Knuckles. He's gone, so what's happening after him? Stay here. He had no vision. Elijah Muhammad gave you a vision. That's why he had to destroy it. He destroyed everything Elijah did, because he had to take the vision away, because you vision unite people. The Christianity is a fake religion, but it unites them. That's why they keep it. They don't tell other people, normal people that, but it unites them. Hinduism unites Indians. Buddhism unites Understand? That's what religions do. Unite people is a vision. But what vision do we have? We got a vision they give us. The vision they give us is we slaves. The false Israel is the so we all over the place. We don't have vision as a people. That's why I said destroy the whole nation. We have a vision. See? The false Israel put up there to make sure we have a vision because they know Elijah's wrong. They're the true seed of Abraham. So now he took the vision away, and Farrakhan supports that. We ain't going nowhere. He's part of that. Destroy the vision. It's not a perdition. But when false Israel about going, they realize that then we have to. Their deception is exposed, and now we have a vision. That's why we come together mentally. See the great army, but that's why they got to attack us immediately. Because now you see they coming together, the vision, attack them. That's why you got to flee immediately because they set it up right now. They're already aware of this. They're already planning for it. That's why I tell you they're planning for it. They're planning for it already. I think the false is a part of what's going on right now is to get people acclimated. Remember, it says, men's hearts fell with fear, those things coming upon the earth, because powers have me shaken. So when they see over there, they see it's coming over here. So what men? They don't say what particular men. They're talking both men. Original people and devils. Why? Because the original people realized what's coming to Gaza is about to happen to them. Because that's planned. That's why the media doesn't talk about it over here. Because they're all on board with it. The courts ain't saying nothing. It was illegal to put troops in these cities, but they, of course, not saying that because they planned it, setting you up. That's why it says you have to flee immediately. Because why would you? This stuff is clear. Okay, let's walk through this. If you see this coming, you prepare for it, right? So you'll be caught off guard, right? So what happened, you already read, you ready to get your car parked, you got your car packed, you got your children close by and everything else, right? If you see it come. So when you come, just take one off. But if you don't see it coming, you might have heard something about it, but you ain't doing anything, you didn't see it coming. You know what happened? Right? Now remember the plan. They said, okay, you got to flee immediately. So they tell you got to flee immediately. Let's take a look at from that point of view. If you got to flee immediately, you can't go in your house to get your baby. You can't go in your house to get your clothes. You can't go out. You can't touch. You can't do it. You got to flee immediately. That means the trap is already, you're already in the trap. You're already in the trap. You understand that? You're already in the trap. That means you didn't see it coming, and you wasn't prepared. Because And so the trap is sprung. You got to run fast to keep. It's like a rat. He sees cheese, he go after it, and once he get the cheese, he got to move fast. Cause that thing may snap on him. He can't think. He can't do nothing. He got to move immediately, or he going. That's the way it is. You already. It's already set up. That's why. You see what Trump's doing? He's setting these detention centers. They don't need them anymore. There's these poor people. This detention center was set up to have your day in court before they deport you. They don't need it anymore. So why is it still building them? Build big ones. Build a big one in Florida, a big one in Texas. Why are you put troops in the American cities when it's against the Constitution? Against they can fly on American citizens. Why is he doing that stuff? Why is he doing it? Because they said let's deal wisely. Nobody set it up, and Franklin's not telling you about it. He can't tell anyway because he's out of it. But he's on God told me be quiet. And there's other people telling about because they're either part of it or they don't know. So in other words, the reason why you got flagged that because you didn't see it coming, or you didn't prepare for it, and all of a sudden it happened. It ain't gonna call the cops to come and get you because that means you got time to go get your car and stuff. So you ain't got time to do anything because that means the trap is already set, and they're setting it right now. Okay, because they know if false go down. You're going to come together. They know the scripture. Even the sealed Bible tells you you're going to come together. That's what's going on right now. Nobody's telling people what's happening. Well, Farrakhan sure ain't telling you. That's what a lot said today. That's what's happening, brothers and sisters. I'm just telling you. The best thing you can do right now And this is a win-win. You buy you at least a week or 2 weeks of food that you don't have to cook. Water. Have your car packed in your car full of gas. And be ready to go at Mama's North and be ready to go 100 miles an hour. Because remember, if you're out in the suburb, then you got to pass through Devil City, Devil, whatever. So your fleet ain't gonna do too much good for you. But you'll get a warning, because once this was right, Farrakhan's cast down, it said the true Son of Man, the true one, measure of the covenant, was set in his seat, the Ancient of Days, thrones cast down. That way you get a immediate warning. This truth be, this God's preaching all the world, then the end will come. So you get a moment, the information pass to you. So if you hear it now, pay close attention, because you will get it just before they actually attack. If you don't get it then you're going to flee in panic. If you go back and get your house to get your baby, you're going to be dead. You and the baby dead too. They said the kid go back in the house to get your baby. That's how, because you didn't pay attention. If you go back and get your baby, you're dead, and the baby's dead too. We're trying to prevent that from happening. Those people that are righteous, the information is being blocked and want to go home. That's what's happening. All hell breaks loose here. Time is going. They starve and said cannibalism will be off the page. To be eating their own children, should be gray-headed, men be walking around like drunk and haven't had a drink. They said the chance might be severe. It'd be worse. It was unprecedented. A lot of people get caught up in that to go to tribulation. That's what's going to happen here in a few more days. I'm talking for this year. This year's fast ending, isn't it? This year. This year ended in December. In case some people say in March. No, this year. A few more days. So it'll be a bloodbath here like you can imagine. They're going to attack you. But you're going to come together as a seed great army. Those of you that make it. You have to fight your way out of here. Demons, there'll be separation. Farrakhan, these people, all these demons, black-faced devils, skin folk, they're going to come together too, but they're going to fight. They're going to fight against us initially. Then they're going to fight the devils. There's no story. I'm not against that, brothers and sisters. Bloodbath. Unprecedented trouble is going to come at shock of an hour. Shock of the hour. I'm just telling you, you're going to see it in a few more days, brothers and sisters. So you can just wait and see or whatever. I'm not telling you to come over here and follow me. I ain't asked for a dime. I'm just telling you to stay awake. And prepare. I don't want anything from you. I want to get you home if you want to go home. And be ready. But soon I'm going to take it, cast out the son of a perdition. In the days, say, thrones are cast down, cast them out. Take control of NOI. Separate the demons out. Bring together a seemingly great army. We'll be a part of that. I won't be here when the hell really breaks loose. After that, when they actually attack on that, the Lamb is taken out of here. Those are the Lamb's Book of Life. That's the bottom line. That's what you're going to see happening, brothers and sisters. Listen to Farrakhan. Well, ain't nothing to listen to. Well, they play all Farrakhan's old so-called old and goldies, top 10, whatever. It's sad. Let's see what else I got here, bro. Set my clothes. But that was that me and man farce is farce. Yeah, you said, well, how can we have another one? Because the second was a total failure. Because nobody showed up. And they had women out there too, and still, but hardly anybody showed up. And Farrakhan's coward ass, because he didn't have the backing of all those people, he tried to claim it all for himself. But with most of the preachers, remember, 99.9% of people out there was with Farrakhan and didn't get. So if Farrakhan was the main feature, how come they didn't get with Farrakhan afterwards? He didn't get any followers out of that. It wasn't it for him. They tried to play exalt for him. It wasn't it for him. He didn't get anything out of it. And the second was a total failure. They showed you the second one. First was bad. But nobody would hear that tone shit. Oh, it's our fault. The devils, they're okay. Nobody hear that shit. Because of bullshit. We in trouble because they They put us in trouble and they keep us in trouble. The sin is on them, not on us. God said, we judge this nation that did to us. Say, they're going to judge us. They're going to judge this nation. So anybody speak against you anybody speak against you in the judgment, they will be silenced. Because you're not wicked. You're not evil. You're dumb because they made you dumb. But you're the wisest people in the universe. And once your mind's restored, oh, God damn, ooh, your mind's restored. You're the most beautiful people in the universe. You're better, more precious than diamonds to the God. After God said, let my people go, they serve me. Because you're the creative force behind the God. He wants you to depress you. He wants you to come and work together. We all come together as a one body. That's how I'm the one coming to impress you. He's the derivative of God. He didn't come to so we come to bring this body together. Start kicking the ass, take over. You just silver and the gold, you're the diamonds. You're the most beautiful people on the planet. And our women, oh God, woohoo. Our women. Where do they come makeup from? Why do they use makeup? That's the devil. They make up what they don't have. We're the best. God just made us harder, better. Turns from coal into diamonds. Another asshole Farrakhan. Remember, he's a follower of the devil. He ain't got no woolly hair. He's a match for Muhammad. He's not the son of man either, but he is the God for this period of time. So you come in going home, brothers and sisters, as you want to go home. You're not going home to the sand. You're going home to paradise. We'll blast sin away once we get there. No, it's all together. Let's see what I got here, brothers and sisters, and close. I showed the snare. See my climate. That's the fraud. I show them. Okay, I'm not going to show us, but the thing is, brothers, is the name Jesus is not in the scripture anywhere in the manuscripts. I'm not going to explain to it today. It's a name they made up. But if you want to go with it, go with it. The name is Joshua. And they hide the fact that Joshua is the one that's going to, because he's the one in Exodus to take you home. They got a picture of a devil with, it says he's black with woolly hair. They do everything they can to get you not to recognize Messiah. The real Messiah shows up. Well, let me show this real quick if I can and see if there it is. Let me see if I see what I got here. No. Okay, I'm not going to do it. I was going to.
What
Haiti
said.
Okay, I'm going to leave it going. Hope you understand. That was, I said, if that me Moth was so great, how come they'll have another one? The next one was the best. Yeah, and they're not talking about having any more. So great. And none of the stuff he said, in fact, the black cities are worse than ever been. None of the stuff he's talking about, none of the stuff happened. All these pledges and stuff, it's all bullshit. You know, what is it? Me-Man March, Me-Man FARCE. That's what I'm thinking about, sisters.
We have a lot of that going on, but we're taking care of our farmers. We can't let our farmers not have anybody, these are these people, you can't replace them very easily. People that live in the inner city are not doing that work. They're just not doing that work. And they've tried, we've tried, everybody tried. They don't do it. These people do it naturally. I said, what happens if they get it to a farmer the other day? What happens if they get a bad back? He said, they don't get a bad back, sir, because if they get a bad back, they die. I said, that's interesting, isn't it?
Well, you heard that. Donald Trump is a believer in eugenics. He believes that white people are the superior race. And inner city is code for black people. And he believes black people cannot now work on the farms. I guess they're not good enough for that. So Hispanic people can do it because they have the backs for it. This is what this man is saying out loud in interviews. He is a racist. It's been proven time and time again. The man had Mein Kampf on his bedside table that he would read at night. Enough to let you know where he stands on that. Just more outrageous, racist things from Donald Trump. They want to arrest those who can do the farm work, well, until their backs give out. And then he'll probably ship them to El Salvador or some other country. Just more vile statements from the president and let you know where he stands.
But so I
when they were arresting people for praying outside of abortion clinics. I mean, I do think the UK, and I say this as, you know, someone who is half English, I think it's like reached, or it is quickly reaching a point where democratic reforms are going to be pretty tough because of the demographic change. And that, of course, the point of importing all these people is to overwhelm the people who live there who disapprove of the program. So you don't have to care what they think because you just bring in new people and their will becomes like all that matters. And so I don't think you're going to fix these things through elections at some point, probably pretty soon. And I just worry a place like the UK, Canada is another, a bunch of different countries in the West are at the point where they're literally revolutionary. They are poised for revolution. And as someone who really doesn't support revolution and hates violence and hates civil war above all, I'm worried about that. I mean, I don't see how this is fixed. Starmer, who's, you know, he's just an instrument of larger forces, but he's a poisonous character, obviously, who's really hurt your country. He's in there for, 4 more years? And so you wonder, like, people are going to start to get really radical in a scary way. Like, I think this is going to happen. And the people in charge don't seem to care.
Well, you're already seeing it. You are seeing the anger beginning to manifest itself. And I completely understand the anger. I don't like you. I abhor any form of violence. But I do understand the anger when you have, you know, Keir Starmer campaigned on, I'm going to smash the gangs that allow these little boats to come over the channel, delivering tens of thousands of people illegally into the country. And they then get put into these so-called asylum hotels where they're given a pretty good lifestyle, certainly a far better lifestyle than many people really struggling at the moment in the UK. And of course, far from smashing the gangs, it turned out yesterday that he's smashing new records for the number of people coming in illegally on the boats. Of course, it's out of control. And the British public are reaching a point of saying, we are done with people coming in illegally and being treated better in a more comfortable and more luxurious manner than we treat our own people.
Well, the whole point is to humiliate and degrade the indigenous population of the British Isles, the white population. I mean, that's the whole point. And are they really going to do something about it? What would that be exactly?
I'm reaching a point of saying we are done with people coming in illegally and being treated better in a more comfortable and more luxurious manner than we treat our own people.
Well, the whole point is to humiliate and degrade the indigenous population of the British Isles, the white population. I mean, that's the whole point. And are they really going to do something about it? What would that be exactly? You'd really have to force a lot of people to go back to their countries of origin, millions of people, and you need to do it really soon. And are they actually willing to do that? I don't know, but these are existential questions that we have been browbeat into ignoring for decades. But the question is, like, is Ireland Ireland? If it's majority non-Irish, oh, shut up, they're Irish. No, they're actually not Irish. Same with the UK, same with England, Scotland, Wales. Like, it's all changing so fast. Nothing like this has ever happened in all of history, except when, say, the Mongols swept across the steppe and raped everybody. Like, that was true demographic change on this scale. But even that wasn't as profound as what we're seeing in every white country around the world. I would say the West, but Australia and New Zealand also. So, like, what is that? Now, my brain is not big enough to understand what that is. I have a lot of theories about it, but I don't know if they're true. All I know is what the numbers are. And that's real. And no one feels that he can say it. Everyone's like, oh, well, if that were happening in China or India or Malaysia or Senegal, it doesn't matter. You'd be like, what the hell is that? Like, the population's totally different. Look at graduation. Pick, I don't know, King's College Law School, and look at the graduation picture for the last 30 years. Who's in it? Just like, let your eyes tell you the truth for once. Like, this is a total change in population. Is it better? Is it worse? Can't have that conversation. Who's pushing this? Does the population want it? The population clearly doesn't want it. There's no polling that's meaningful on the subject. I mean, there's no referendum on it. You don't get to decide. You've got no voice in it, other than you get to go to jail if you complain loudly enough about it. What is this? I think it's the biggest and darkest thing that has happened in the last 1,000 years, for sure. And I think it's leading somewhere really, really bad. It's not happening by accident. That's obvious, because it's only happening in white countries.
I mean, I think that...
Oh, shut up, white supremacist. Well, in fact, I'm not a white supremacist. I'm just noticing what the hell's going on.
I think most people I've spoken to about this in the UK, most people have always viewed the UK to be a very tolerant, multicultural, cosmopolitan place to live. That's why so many people want to come here. And people have no problem with that. And it's been very successful for a long period of time.
But it's multicultural? What does that mean?
We have a lot of different people from different countries, different cultures, and it's always worked historically.
So is Sharia law in a multicultural country, is Sharia law... What does that mean?
We have a lot of different people from different countries, different cultures, and it's always worked historically.
So is Sharia law in a multicultural country, is Sharia law every bit as valid as English common?
No, people don't want Sharia law here. No.
A lot of people do. Wait, but hold on. I don't know what you mean. Multiculturalism itself is a lie designed to subvert a society. No, a society has a culture. You can argue about what it is or ought to be. It's not necessarily the same as race. It's connected to race, but it's not the same. People from different races can buy into your culture. That was kind of the beauty of the West. But a multicultural society is not sustainable. There's never been such a thing.
Is
one culture will dominate.
Hang on, Tucker. Surely the United States of America, given the very way it was created, is the epitome of a multicultural society. And my point I was going to make to you was...
It's absolutely not. No. It's a multiracial society.
Yeah.
Though it was not actually a multiracial society up until pretty recently. It was just like 90% white for most of its existence, but whatever. But you did have different peoples, you had different religions. That was all totally fine, but there was one culture, as American culture. There's no such thing as a multicultural society. It's not sustainable. One culture will overwhelm the other. Again, it's not the same as race. It's not identical to race. It's connected, but it's not the same. But multiculturalism is by definition insane. No, it's never happened. It never will happen. One culture will predominate. It will impose its values on everybody else. I mean, the gay thing, which was not a thing 40 years ago, gay was a slur, all of a sudden becomes multiculture there. There's one culture, and it's required. And that's true in every society, because a culture is a commonly agreed upon set of values, which in their firmest form are called laws.
But those values can evolve.
This is true everywhere.
But those values can evolve.
Of course they evolve, but there's only one set of them. It's not multicultural. There's one set. You worship one God in every society. Sorry.
But your country's values were established by the United States Constitution, and that's had, 26, 27 amendments, right? So your own values, as determined by the founding fathers, they have evolved and been changed to accommodate changing times.
There's no doubt. Look, I'm not even arguing against change. That's natural. It's natural that people's views evolve.
So the culture changes.
Once you start rejecting the laws of nature, then you're doomed. But let me just say, no, of course, societies change. I get it. All I'm saying, I'm making a very discrete, specific point, which is multiculturalism as an idea is laughably stupid. It has never worked. We never had it anywhere, and it never will exist because it's contrary to human nature. One culture, one way of looking at things, one worldview will predominate, and it will punish all who deviate from it. That is the nature of societies. So if you're telling me it's
determined by the founding fathers, they have evolved and been changed to accommodate changing times.
There's no doubt. Look, I'm not even arguing against change. That's natural. It's natural that people's views evolve.
So those values can evolve.
There's one culture, and it's required. And that's true in every society because a culture is a commonly agreed upon set of values, which in their firmest form are called laws.
But those values can evolve.
This is true everywhere.
But those values can evolve.
Of course they evolve, but there's only one set of them. It's not multicultural. There's one set. You worship one God in every society. Sorry.
But your country's values were established by the United States Constitution, and that's had, 26, 27 amendments, right? So your own values, as determined by the founding fathers, they have evolved and been changed to accommodate changing times.
There's no doubt. Look, I'm not even arguing against change. Natural that people's views evolve.
So the culture changes.
Once you start rejecting the laws of nature, then you're doomed. But let me just say, no, of course, societies change. I get it. All I'm saying, I'm making a very discrete, specific point, which is multiculturalism as an idea is laughably stupid. It has never worked. We never had it anywhere, and it never will exist because it's contrary to human nature. One culture, one way of looking at things, one worldview will predominate, and it will punish all who deviate from it. That is the nature of societies. So if you're telling me it's multicultural, we can all live and have radically different values, that's just not true. It's never been true. It never will be true. So you're having one culture, one worldview predominate over another and dominate and suppress all dissent. That's just what it is, dude.
But
Let's be honest.
I would point to the United States of America and the United Kingdom as two shining examples, albeit not completely without their flaws, but shining examples of places that are deemed by the rest of certainly feel that about my country.
Well, I certainly think that inherent in Christianity is the notion of tolerance, and that draws from a core Christian concept, which is free will. You cannot force someone to convert. There's never been conversion by the sword in Christianity. People decide to believe in it. And so that is central to the religion, therefore it's been central to the society. Western civilization is Christian civilization. And so we call that tolerance. It's a respect for your inherent God-given right to make a choice about what you believe. Okay, so of course, that's always been a feature. My only point is, a society has a commonly agreed upon set of beliefs, rules, and laws that are the definition of the society itself. That's what a society is. So you can't have competing. You can't have, gay world and Sharia world living co-equally in a society. That does not happen. It will never happen. You have to pick one. Are we the Sharia society? Are we the party time gay rights society? Which one? And you can't face that reality. So you're just sort of snoozing along until the inevitable point where you're going to wake up and be like, my values have no bearing on what our society is anymore because we've been invaded by other people with a totally different worldview and they're now in charge. And that day is coming very soon for your country and maybe it'll improve it. I don't think the UK could be a lot worse than it already is. It's this kind of disgusting, sad, self-hating, suicidal island that was once great. It kills me to see it as a half English person, but that day is coming. It will change. You will either decide to be Western or Eastern. That's a choice that we're all going to face. I don't want to face that choice, but it's being foisted upon us by the architect. That's a choice that we're all going to face. Suicidal island that was once great. It kills me to see it as a half English. That day is coming. It will change. You will either decide to be Western or Eastern. That's a choice that we're all going to face. I don't want to face that choice, but it's being foisted upon us by the architects of mass migration. Sorry.
I would question your characterization as my country as a sad, disgusting, what's the rest of it, suicidal nation. I feel none of those things. I feel very happy to be in the United Kingdom, and I feel that there are lots of very happy.
Our system, the Western system, which is very distinct from the Eastern system, very distinct, and it's distinct on this one precise point, we believe, and have always believed since this country was founded, since your country became, not a pure monarchy, but even when it was a pure monarchy, the belief in the West, because of Christianity, was the worst thing you can do is punish the innocent. That's the worst thing you can do. That's worse than not punishing the guilty. And we often said that to each other. We no longer say that because there is a pretty concerted effort to blur the meaning of these terms. But I'm not going to be deterred from defining words precisely. Terror is murdering people, killing people, punishing people who committed no crime. Period.
So when the Israeli government says it has repeatedly that even though over 20,000 completely innocent children are believed to have died in their response to what Hamas did on October the 7th at the hands of the IDF, there are many on the pro-Palestinian side who say that Israel is behaving like terrorists too in the way that they have gone about conducting this war. Would you go as far as to say that?
One of the things that I really object to now is this relentless focus on Israel, which, by the way, is a foreign country that I have nothing to do with.
We've done this before. Now, maybe today things are different, and we will end up living in a nation that is sharply divided and may ultimately produce something else. But I'm an American. I love my country. I want to see it stay together. I'm interested in social cohesion, which means that I think our laws, customs, and culture have to be dominant. We can accept some diversity on the edges, but not fundamental division. I think we're in a state of fundamental division. So when I bring up Sharia law, I've sat in many discussions with many people that said, well, I don't care what people look like, but I do care about Sharia law, and I don't want that practiced anywhere near my family or in my country. And that's something you should be aware of. So the notion that someone can come here and say, well, that's part of my religion and we're going to abide by Sharia law, they're going to find serious resistance and opposition in the country.
And as I clarified,
It's because it matters. It's this thing we call societal cohesion. Nations do not exist on their own. They have a core population. Our core population from the very beginning was always at least 80% European and Christian, and about 15 to 20% African. But when you start bringing in huge numbers, millions, who are fundamentally different from the core population, you are going to get violence, anger, and conflict. How many times have you heard people say, if you bring people in from the developing world, what do you get? The developing world. And now we've got that. You can't bring in hundreds of thousands of people from Somalia, plant them, of all places, in Minnesota, and then be shocked that, no, they're not Americans. They're not really interested in being Americans. They're foreigners living on American soil. Nobody wants to say that publicly. If you do, oh, well, you're a racist. Well, the world is full of racists. The real war that's going to decide our fate is not going to be fought anywhere overseas. It's going to be fought right here inside the United States. Are we going to survive as a republic, as an English-speaking republic that rests on the foundations of Western civilization? Or are we going to become something else?
One point that is
Constitution was completed in 1789. I think we had 5 million people living in the 13 British colonies. We were 90% white, that is excluding the Africans who were in the country who had been brought here as slaves. But we were 90% white. We were 90% Protestant. and this may be hard for you to believe, but the people that wrote that were trying to protect all of the Protestant sects from a state church on the model of the Church of England and the Roman Catholic Church. That's one of the reasons it was almost 100 years or more after that before people began to finally accept Catholicism as a religion, because it was viewed as political power. My point to you is the Constitution is outdated. The way we are governed is outdated. It has to be re-examined. Nobody in 1789 imagined that anybody would come to the United States except another lunatic, religious fanatical Protestant who hated the Church of England. That's what people feared. That's what they thought of. The Constitution that we have does many good things, but I would argue that the Bill of Rights is ultimately more important. The Bill of Rights is vital and essential, and that needs to be defended. But the Constitution and the way we govern and the things that we're doing, it's out of date. It doesn't fit our needs. And that's back to my comment on something given has no value. You have to earn it. And we haven't made anybody earn their place in this country. I'm talking about people like me that have been here forever. My first ancestor stepped off the boat in 1681. So we've got to get back to some notion of national service, because national service promotes national integration. It addresses some of these problems that you're discussing. Now, I know that you may not want to conform and may not want to be as I am, but I'm an American and nobody questions that. Nobody ever will. If you don't want to stand out and be questioned, then I suggest that you change your appearance, because I don't think it's life or death for you to wear what you wear.
I think this conversation,
it's not fine, because it's leading to violence that could have otherwise been avoided. You see, every great nation, every large nation can always accept some number of people into its ranks that are different from them. It's always been the case. But if you suddenly import millions, which is what's happened here and happened in Europe, then you threaten the core gene pool. What I'm trying to tell you is there's a problem. And we can all pretend that there isn't, and you can insist there isn't, but that's the view. And I think it's incumbent upon all of us to address it truthfully and openly. Stop pretending it's not a problem. It's a problem.
I mean, what's also a problem is white supremacy, and that's
no, because of you're saying you're different, you're going to remain different, and you don't think that if that's not compatible with being an American, then the hell with it. That's what you're going to do.
Well, then what do you make then of, white American people who convert, let's say, to Islam and choose to cover? Are they not American anymore?
Listen, if they want to do that, that's obviously their business. I don't know how many are out there that do that. I think again, it's ill-advised. I think you have to hold the society together. There has to be an agreement on certain things, customs, culture, way of life. And unfortunately, if you're going to practice rigidly a brand of Islam that demands certain things, and this is why I asked right off the bat, do you support Sharia law?
I'm a Muslim. What being a Muslim means is I follow the guidelines of my religion, which is a peaceful. Does your religion
dictate to you Sharia law?
My religion dictates to me to be a good human being, to be good to my neighbors, to
that the most powerful force in today's Republican Party is represented by what Charlie Kirk said. It is this drive to make America a white Christian nation. I got to tell you, this is what they say privately. This is now what they say publicly. This is what Charlie Kirk said publicly.
And Joe, again, one of the reasons I wanted to have you on, because you know these people very, very well. Yeah. You said it yourself. You were one of the strongest voices. You were one of the folks who understood the incendiary language when you were in Congress, when you had your radio show, and how people loved when you did it. And then when you chose to apologize for that and turn away from it, oh my God, they literally have just tried to destroy you because of that.
Yeah, again, you know the deal, Roland, right? I came out publicly against Trump 7 years. For 7 years, I put up with death threats on a regular basis. Nobody is welcome in that party unless you bow down to what this force is, this MAGA force. And again, look, there have been some people on the left who've celebrated Charlie Kirk's murder. Shame on them, be better people. But this is much worse, Roland, what my former friends are doing on the right, because they are turning this into a holy war. When you say we declare war on the left because of what some 22-year-old young guy did in Utah, and then you declare war on the whole left, that's a lot worse than celebrating Charlie Kirk's murder, because that's dishonest, but that's also inciting hate and violence. And Roland, look, Trump's an idiot. So yeah, Trump says the left, the problem in the country is the left. J.D. Vance is not an idiot. What did J.D. Vance say today, right? He was subbing for Charlie Kirk on his radio show, and he spent the entire show going after the left, going after them, they, them. Man, Democrats need to wake up, Roland. This is a really serious deal by my former colleagues. The stuff that I hear privately from them right now, Roland, for the last 5 days, I mean, they want to go to war. This is a holy war.
Oh, it absolutely is. And what really jumps out at me on this very thing here, Joe, and I've been saying this, I played the speech 2 weeks ago that mainstream media just ignored, of Missouri Senator Eric Schmidt, who gave a speech at NatCon, Peter Thiel's group, where he literally gave a white nationalist speech, where he said our ancestors fought for this country to be ours and no one else. He was talking about white people. He was basically saying, if you are Black, Latino, Asian American, or even Native American, America is not for you. And folks just ignored it. And so people need to understand, again, what they're saying, why they're saying it. And yes, there are many evangelicals, any very conservative white Christians who are pushing this as well. And you nailed it. They want a holy war. They want a race war. They want this to be a white country. It is clear as day.
And Roland, really important point. Charlie Kirk at only 31, the impact he had, because he was one of the most successful pushers of this white Christian nationalistic idea. And so I think that's why all of his defenders are out there so strenuously denying he said anything divisive, because they know if you really go through Charlie Kirk's public record, everything he said about people of color and Black women and Muslims and gays and transgenders, if people took the time to go through all of that, and that was put out for average people to see, they'd be blown away by it. That's why his defenders are like supercharged right now. They don't want that record to be seen.
Today, you mentioned, and I mentioned as well, Vice President J.D. Vance sitting in to do his show. And listen to this man just blatantly lie, Joe. Play it.
I read a story in The Nation magazine about my dear friend, Charlie Kirk. Now, The Nation isn't a fringe blog. It's a well-funded, well-respected magazine whose publishing history goes back to the American Civil War. George Soros's Open Society Foundation funds this magazine, as does the Ford Foundation and many other wealthy titans of the American progressive movement. The writer accuses Charlie of saying, and I quote, "Black women do not have brain processing power to be taken seriously." But if you go and watch the clip, the very clip she links to, you realize he never said anything like that. He never uttered those words. He made an argument against affirmative action as a policy. He criticized a specific Supreme Court justice as an individual. He never said anything about black women as a group. He made an argument for judging people of all races and backgrounds by their own individual merits.
Bullshit.
Okay, Joe, this is actually what he said.
No, Roland, that's utter bullshit.
In fact, you know, if we would have said 3 weeks ago, Blake, if we would have said that Joy Reid and Michelle Obama and Sheila Jackson Lee and Ketanji Brown Jackson were affirmative action picks, we would have been called the racist. But now they're coming out and they're saying it for us. They're coming out and they're saying, I'm only here because of affirmative action. Yeah, we know. You do not have the brain processing power to otherwise be taken really seriously. You had to go steal a white person's slot to go be taken somewhat seriously. Play cut 52.
But I rise today as a clear recipient of affirmative action, particularly in higher education. I may have been admitted on affirmative action, both in terms of being a woman and a woman of color.
All right, Joe. He literally said it. Not only that, Vance lied. Soros does not fund the nation. So he sat there and flat out lied.
And Roland, remind me, what's J.D. Vance's job? He's the vice president, and yet he had time today to do a radio show for a former right-wing podcaster. I mean, look what they're not even, Roland, they're not even subtle about it, what this White House is doing. They believe, man, the path to victory is fear, hate, and division. And that's what they're putting out there. That was Charlie Kirk literally going after 4 accomplished black women by saying they didn't have the brain power to get where they got. This is what he believed. And this is what MAGA believes. And that, again, Roland, broken record, that's why Charlie Kirk was so damn successful. Why he had such a big audience.
Yeah, and not only that, you take Nick Fuentes, who's to the right of Charlie Kirk. The night of or the day after Kirk was shot and killed, Fuentes had 200,000 people watching him live. And so what you have this fervor. And so when I listen to Trump and Vance and all these people talk about, how the left, they're indoctrinating. No, and you know this very well, the indoctrination. We've had people who formerly are with Turning Point USA put out videos talking about how it was really this cult-like figure, this messianic figure, as they sort of set Kirk up as, and how they want them to follow that. And so that's what's going on here. These people are not trying to have open dialogue. And not only that, Joe, you take Trump, okay? Trump was very clear in saying he was not going to call Governor Tim Walz after those 4 folks were shot in Minnesota. 2 were killed, including former Speaker of the House and her husband. Now today he's saying, he never even heard of Melissa Hortman, and if the governor had asked him, he would have, of course, lowered the flags to have staff. I'm sorry, he's also lying. He knew about her. He knew about the shooting, but he was so arrogant that he said, 2 Democrats, a Democrat Speaker of the House shot and killed. Yeah, I don't care, but lower the flags to have staff with Charlie Kirk. Fly his body on Air Force Two. Do a memorial service at the Kennedy Center. Do another one at the Arizona Cardinal Stadium. Give him the Medal of Freedom. And I'm telling you, they're going to give him a state funeral. That's what you're seeing right now. And then you got Peter Hegseth going after members of the military who said anything negative in the aftermath of his death. You've got Kirk supporters creating a database of people of every social media post, and then even Vance saying in the podcast, you call their employer. So the so-called free speech people all of a sudden are saying, if you say anything negative about Charlie Kirk after what took place last week, we're going to come after you, come after your job. Oh, I thought they hated cancel culture, Joe.
Yeah. Roland, I remember back in my right-wing radio days, I would come on every day, and there was always some story about some leftist group on a college campus that couldn't handle speech that made them uncomfortable
to say.
Roland, this is scary, and you and I are old enough, man, to remember huge figures in American history who were gunned down, struck down, military leaders, civil rights leaders. We are treating this 31-year-old podcaster, MAGA influencer, like he's Jesus Christ. So I come from the right. Why are my old colleagues and friends on the right doing this, Roland? Because the right wants a religious war. Let's just call it. They want a civil war. They want a holy war. That's why they're putting him up to be some Jesus-like martyr.
Absolutely. I mean, Glenn Beck literally came out and said he was a civil rights leader. Oh, my God, stop it. Stop it. I've seen people say, I've seen a lot of these videos, I'm leaving my church because my pastor did not mention him. This was a Christian warrior. And let's just be clear. You said it, white Christian nationalists. It's slaveholder religion. We heard a lot of this stuff during slavery, during Jim Crow, things along those lines. And this whole idea about, it was about debate. It was about, exchange of ideas. I mean, come on, let's just stop it. And so we see what's going on here. We see the games that are being played. And then what gets me, Joe, is this whole deal of, oh my God, the left, how they indoctrinated him and the accused killer going to a university. The dude was at a university for one semester, Joe. You're trying to tell me that one semester at a mostly white institution in Mormon, Utah, which is not a liberal bastion, somehow just radicalized him? I mean, it really is showing folks the hand they're trying to play.
Yeah, and I think even on top of that, Roland, I think it was like some technical school. So it wasn't some crazy liberal arts school for a semester. Look, cut through all the BS. The Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, has publicly said that America should be a white Christian country. This is what animates my former party. Roland, you know me, right? Tea Party Hellraiser. I don't come from the left. I left the Republican Party when the Republican Party became MAGA. And my fellow Democrats and folks on the left need to understand, now these people are on the right. Now this is MAGA. MAGA now are the snowflakes. MAGA, Roland, they now need their safe spaces. It's funny, but it's not funny. And you're right about J.D. Vance, man. He just flat out lied. I mean, the last 30-year history of political violence in this country, the vast majority of it is right-wing. It always has been. And they put out this lie that it's only on the left. It's not even, Roland, a both sides problem between the left and the right. There is political violence on the left, but the vast majority is on the right, and they know that, and they're lying because they're trying to inflame their base. And Roland, I hear from their base every day, and let me tell you something, they are inflamed. I mean, they are ready to march and grab their you-know-what. This is a scary time.
It is, and folks need to understand what is certainly at stake. Joe Walsh, I appreciate you joining us on the show.
History of the cross, known by their works. What's the history of the cross? 500-year history of the cross. Murder, rape, destruction, deception, enslavement, burning, terrorizing. To maintain a slavery system, you must terrorize the people 24/7. They terrorize people from Africa and America for 400 years. Constant terror, 24/7. Rape, murder. In the name of Jesus. This was Christians, not Buddhists, not Hindus. Christians, in the name of Jesus, where they said Jesus cursed black people, they call them Ham, cursed them to be slaves and persecuted forever. In the name of Jesus, raped our women incessantly, pissed in our mouths, made us eat shit. And they took and tried to clean up, not clean it up, but make it look more fashionable, I guess, by calling it chitlins. That's after slavery, of course, after so-called slavery. Because what was endured was not slavery. Look up slavery. Look up slavery. It does include murder, rape, terror. This is a Holocaust. And then now they try to downplay it. Oh, that was 400 years ago. No, it wasn't 400 years ago. I don't care if it was a million years ago. It was 400 years ago. It lasts for 400 years. And it's enduring today. They took everything away from the slaves, everything. Their name, their culture, their families, their religion, their minds, everything. Fed their children to alligators as alligator bait. And then they talk about what's going on in Gaza when they did 1,000 times worse. What's going over in Gaza now is simply just a miniature version of what they did. What they did was far worse than what's going on in Gaza. Gaza's bad. It's genocide. What they did was far worse and much longer. That's the legacy of Christianity. Murder, rape, disease. They wiped out the native population with genocide and disease. Smallpox blankets. knowing they was full with disease, herpes, syphilis, gonorrhea from sleep with animals. So-called common cold was not common. Didn't exist here on this side of the world until they brought it here. Murder, rape. When they was raping out women, they had a cross hanging from their neck. And again, they taught black and this was God's will. God's will. The enslavement of our people. And they continue on even today. That's the legacy of Christianity, the cross. So where's your rap sheet? Every time they arrest one of our people, your rap sheet. What's your rap sheet? How are you going to judge people for murder when you're guilty of murder beyond imagination for hundreds of years? Hundreds of years. Theft. You stole this land and murdered its people. And you crushed the native people here. When the braves would go out hunting, you would come into the camps like cowards and kill the women and smash the children's brains out on the hooves of your horses. This is the legacy of Christianity. That's the legacy of it. The question is, if instead of Columbus coming here, Dracula came here, Beelzebub, Wolfman, Frankenstein, Satan, and they all came instead of Columbus. What could they have done that Columbus and those that followed him did? Satan is the God of this world. That's the God they're serving. They have known him by their works. What are the works of Christianity? What are the works of Christianity? Where's the works of Christianity? Evil, deception, mischief, bloodshedding. It goes on today. And what's going on in Gaza, just reflection and microcosm of what was done here in America for hundreds of years. Raped out women incessantly. They would even rape while they was out in the fields picking cotton. They would jump off their horse and tell them to bend over and rape them. And tell them to keep picking cotton while they was doing it. This is the kind of stuff that they would do. Make one slave defecate in the slave and slave in the mouth of another slave, and then bound it up so they couldn't spit it out for 7 days. That's a legacy of slavery. You did it all in the name of Jesus. That's a legacy of slavery. Legacy of slavery. 40 years plus. Legacy of Christianity. Legacy of the cross. That's the legacy. That's the true legacy. So whose works are those? Who are you serving? Who are you serving? The legacy of the cross. Where's your rap sheet, America? Gog? Where's your rap sheet, Magog? Britain? Where's your mateship? Where's your rap sheet? Antichrist, false Israel? What's your rap sheet? Then they colonized Africa. They're stealing for ripping off everyone. That's the legacy of Christianity. They've been ruling for over 500 years. And now, the threat of nuclear war to finish off everything. That's a legacy of Christianity in the name of your Jesus.
make it. Surely you ain't talking about us packing our bags and going westward or going out there in the land. Ain't no cities, no towns, no infrastructure out there. Surely you ain't talking about that, are you? No. We ain't going back to Africa. No. This is your land. Our sweat, our tears, our blood has earned us the right to the land. What God wants you to do is come out of their ways. Come out of their pagan holidays where you should be honoring Jesus. You are out here buying bunny rabbits and inviting your children to paint eggs for some Easter hunt. Come out of her. Get the Santa Claus out of your house and a tree that is the way of the pagans. Come out of her. St. Valentine's Day. What the heck is that? Excuse me. Come out of her name. Come out of her religion. Come out of her culture. Come out of her way of life. Come out of her educational system.
Back to their people. When they was put off on the shores of North America. And the ship, Jesus, that John Hawkins brought our best hero. They stood and stared at it disappearing in the horizon, crying, wanting to return. With their hands stretched out towards that ship and tied in chains themselves bound together. And when they was put off on this memorable shows, they stood there staring at that ship that brought them to a strange land and a strange people who could not speak either one's language. Now they have to live in a strange country and a strange people who had proven to them every mile from their native land that they were going to be the worst enemies that they ever lived with. They were going to be the people that would destroy them. They soon discovered that on this ship that they were being brought here on. I don't know how we should say anything in the name of Jesus of good for us when this ship was named Jesus. This is how that we have always been deceived by the white man, trying to use Jesus, the name Jesus, to lull us off in a mental sleep, thinking that we are on our way to heaven. This is terrible. My beloved brothers and sisters, this is very hard for us to even to accept today. Imagine our parents standing crying to return to their native land and people, and you here today crying to stay with the very enemy that brought our subjection to their will. You and I, turning your face from your own native land and turning it back towards our own prison house and our own enemies who have destroyed us and seeks to further destroy us. How do you feel? How do you feel? Not wanting to return to your people. They are trying to make love with the very people that destroyed you and your parents. How do you feel acting such? And even today, they are beating and shooting you down throughout the country. There is no justice here for you and me. Why should not you want to be separated and be returned to your own? I ask you that question. Think over your parents on the eastern shore of North America, crying and praying to God to be returned to their own 400 years ago. How would they like, or you like to see them rise up in the judgment condemning you for being such fools as now want to live in the land that absolutely enslaved them and killed them and beat them for 300 long years here. They would condemn you as being fools for not wanting to be separated and go to your own, build up a nation for yourself after the white man say you are free. Remember that.
and going westward or going out there in the land, ain't no cities, no towns, no infrastructure out there. Surely you ain't talking about that, are you? No. We ain't going back to Africa. No. This is your land. Our sweat, our tears, our blood has earned us the right to the land. What God wants you to do is come out of their ways. Come out of their pagan holidays where you should be honoring Jesus. You are out here buying bunny rabbits and inviting your children to paint eggs for some Easter hunt. Come out of her. Get the Santa Claus out of your house and a tree that is the way of the pagans. Come out of her. St. Valentine's Day. What the heck is that? Excuse me. Come out of her name. Come out of her religion. Come out of her culture. Come out of her way of life. Come out of her educational system.
Put it back to their people. When they was put off on the shores of North America. And this ship, Jesus, that John Hawkins brought our best hero. They stood and stared at it disappearing in the horizon, crying, watching to return, with their hands stretched out towards that ship, and tied in chains themselves bound together. And when they was put off on this memorable shows, they stood there staring at that ship that brought them to a strange land and a strange people who could not speak either one's language. Now they have to live in a strange country and a strange people who had proven to them every mile from their native land that they were going to be the worst enemies that they ever lived with. They were going to be the people that would destroy them. They soon discovered that on this ship that they were being brought here on. I don't know how we should say anything in the name of Jesus of good for us when this ship was named Jesus. This is how that we have always been deceived by the white man, trying to use Jesus, the name Jesus, to lull us off in a mental sleep, thinking that we are on our way to heaven. This is terrible. My beloved brothers and sisters, this is very hard for us to even to accept today. Imagine our parents standing crying to return to their native land and people, and you here today crying to stay with the very enemy that brought our fathers in subjection to their will. You and I turning your face from your own native land and turning it back towards our own prison house and our own enemies who have destroyed us and seeks to further destroy us. How do you feel? How do you feel? Not wanting to return to your people. They are trying to make love with the very people that destroyed you and your parents. How do you feel acting such? And even today, they are beating and shooting you down throughout the country. There is no justice here for you and me. Why should not you want to be separated and be returned to your own? I ask you that question. Think over your parents on the eastern shore of North America, crying and praying to God to be returned to their own 400 years ago. How would they like, or you like to see them rise up in the judgment, condemning you for being such fools as now want to live in the land that absolutely enslaved them and killed them and beat them for 300 long years here. They would condemn you as being fools for not wanting to be separated and go to your own, build up a nation for yourself after the white man say you are free. Remember that.
Assalamu alaikum, sisters and brothers. Sulman Rahim here, Messenger of the Covenant. Okay, brothers and sisters, it's been a year now, and we're finally home after 40 years in Arabia. I'm reporting to you from Arabia. finally home after 40 years. Right? And so we've been here a year now. And there was an agreement made. A former slave master, he said, we had a choice. Stay here or leave. Right? So we chose our inheritance, Arabia. So we left. And half the original people decided they wanted to give up their inheritance and trade it for a place in America and reconciliation with their former slave master. That's their choice. They chose, said, we don't want to go over to Arabia. We don't go anywhere sand and all that stuff. We want to stay here in America. We've been here all our lives, been here 40 years, born here, right? And we can make peace with our slave master. Okay, so they decided to stay. And so after a year, right, we get reports of how things are going over there. And it doesn't sound too good. How things are going over in America with their reparations. Because they was given, they got 6 states, I believe. Yeah, see? Yeah. Yeah, they got those 6 states right there. That's what Farrakhan told them. They was listening to Farrakhan. Farrakhan promised them, they stay there, 6 states, right? Had their own land. And they can make reconciliation with former slave masters. They're not devils. They're not devils. They're human beings. They just had a rough, they were just, did some things wrong, but now they're gonna make amends and make reparations. So 6 states, and in addition to that, they gave everybody $1 million. Everybody stayed $1 million. Okay? Say, thank you, Farrakhan. They're so happy. Thank you, Farrakhan. Thank you, Farrakhan. Man, you got 6 states. That's what you promised us. We got 6 states. They're thanking you. Thank you, Farrakhan. Right? And this was a year ago. They got the 6 states. Thank you, Farrakhan. Right? Everybody got $1 million. Everybody $1 million. And they're rejoicing. Oh man, they're so happy. Hey, we came here. We made it. We got America, man. We got reconciliation for a master. We got 6 states. Everybody got $1 million. We're all rich. That was a year ago when we left. So we're in Arabia. They're still back there in America. And now we're getting reports a year later. This was the way it was a year ago, man. They were so happy. They were so happy. Right? And now we get reports of what's going on right now. Let's see. Oops, it says a power failure. Great power failure in those 6 states. Power failure. And just those 6 states. Right? So, and now they had a big master. They came asking to turn the power. Well, why can't they do it? Oh, Farrakhan didn't train anybody. He was telling you about 6 states, but he never prepared you for them. So nobody knows how to do it. How to turn the power grid back on. So now he's begging, man, master, can you come and turn this thing back on for us? I mean, you would think that if he told him 6 states to promise him that he would have prepared him for it, right? Their schools and education, whatever they needed for that. But now I guess they didn't, because they say over there now he's begging the former master to come and turn the power back on. And then what? I mean, this is all that's happening now. I mean, I'm getting these imports in now, a year later. It's like, They're coming in every hour. Power grid failure, right? Then say, oops, crop failure. All of a sudden, there's no, they say, they looked at the farmers, when they done the farmers said, oh. So then they asked, Master, what's happening here? How come right? Our crop. They found that the land they gave them wasn't that fertile. A year later, nothing's growing. Crop failure. And now they Master, what's happening here? Right? And then, I mean, all these things, every hour that's coming in, right? And then they look, and they had, a year ago, they had plenty of food on the shelves, right? And now, they look there now, and all the food's gone. It's gone. She said, what am I going to do here? Food's gone. The house is empty. So he said, Master, we need some food. Well, how come you can't produce your own food? I mean, you want your own country. You got your own states. That's your country. Then you run it. What are you calling us for? Right? So they've been praying. And then, oops, no fuel. There's Master, no fuel there. Well, you got to buy your fuel. You got to produce your own fuel. What you calling us for? You got your own 6 states now. What you calling us for? Go and get some fuel. You got money, right? You got your own states. So you got to get your own. What you calling us for? You said you wanted your own, so now you got it. And you got your reparation, so we don't owe you anything anymore. We don't owe you anything anymore, so what you calling us for? We don't owe you anything. You said you agreed to 6 states and $1 million per person. You took that instead of your inheritance, what you call the Abrahamic covenant, Arabia. Your brothers and sisters, they left. They took that was offered to them. They took it, and you said no. I want this instead. So now you got it. So what you calling us for? Oh, no communications. Oh man. No communications, right? No medical facilities. So what's going on, Master? Wait a minute, hold on. What you calling us for? That's yours. You got to handle that stuff. You want us to handle it for you? You want independence, now you have it. I mean, wow, this stuff is coming every hour, man. Instead of like a year, they was celebrating. And now they're crying and begging the Master, hey, we got all these problems here. I said, wait a minute, that's yours. Why don't you come about your problems? You have to work those out. Right? No transportation, I mean, no planes from nowhere. We learned about fly the planes and drive the trucks and the boats and stuff and to go and get this stuff. Well, what you done that for? You wanted this, you got it. So go ahead and train your own pilots, build your own planes, build your own boats and right? You see what I'm saying? Transportation, build your own trucks. What you calling for? Yeah, Master, we see this. You said you wanted 6 states, you got it. You want $1 million per person. That was the reparations. So then if you didn't pay people to take care of this, how's that our problem? You're independent now. You're really free now. Oops, no fuel, the gas station's empty. I can't drive, man. And no gas. Man, wow. All this stuff happened like for a year. They thought that everything was great, and all of a sudden everything ran out. So I guess what happened? Everything was there when they got it, and then it ran out. They had to, for them to replace the fuel, to get the farms going. So they was left with that stuff. The factory was full. I mean, warehouses full. Then you had to keep. They thought that was just going. I guess they thought it was just going to be there, just by itself. They didn't prepare for it. See? And they ain't trained any engineers and scientists and architects and stuff. They ain't, business. They didn't train anybody. So Farrakhan, he told you he's gonna get this for you, but he didn't prepare you for it. He didn't get anybody to handle this stuff. So what was that all about? So now he asked the master, said, hey, don't call on me. You was here, you had it when you was here with me. You said you want independence, you wanted reparations, so you gave it to you. Well, call on your brothers over there. They left, they handled their own business. You said you want to stay here. Right? See? Don't have any professionals or technicians, scientists, doctors, none of that. See? I mean, that's what, because if you're going to set reparation, you should be preparing for that, right? So if he was telling you about reparation, you should be preparing for it. If he said, God said that's where he's going to get you, so if God told him he's going to get that for you, then he should, like when God told Noah there was a flood coming, to only build an ark, so he started building an ark. And so you should start preparing for the 6 states and the reparations, but apparently you didn't. And so now, the devil said, look, hold it. We want total separation. Look, we don't want you to call us no more. We don't want you to call us no more. Because you're wearing us. You want your own country. You got your own land. Right? You got money, $1 million, all this stuff, right? And so now we got to protect your money and everything too? No, you have to create your own money. You have to do all these things, your own wealth, not ours. Right? So we're going to cut you off from that too. That's all economics. So they go and tell it. They tell all the people on all the white folks, right? Because all the black folks, now all the black folks is either in Arabia or in those 6 states. That's the solution. You had to be one way or the other. There couldn't be no integration, that kind of stuff. That's the deal. You just said one or the other. So all the black folks are there, ain't no integration, that kind of stuff, right? Black folks are there, one or the other, so they're there. So he said, okay, right? So they just say, we're going to take that money because we don't know what y'all doing over there. You have your own money, you have to find your own wealth. So what they do is they tell all the white folks, say, protect your money, right? Transfer your money into gold. Transfer all your dollars into gold. Okay. Now remember, they gave everybody $1 million apiece. So everybody got $1 million apiece, right? And so they transfer it to gold. And then what happens is that what they do is they start just printing money. White folks just start printing money. You understand what that means? That's inflation, right? Because if you got $1 million of gold, a million ounces of gold, say 1 million ounces of gold, understand this, and you got 1 million certificates, then you say each certificate is worth 1 ounce. If you got 1 million ounces, each certificate is worth 1 ounce. Understand that? If you got 1 million ounces of gold and you got 1 million certificates, each one of those certificates is worth 1 million. If you want to say trade with the certificates, each one of the certificates is worth 1 ounce of gold, right? But if you take and print, you say you got 1 million ounces of gold and you got 1 million certificates, each one. But say you print twice as many certificates, you got 2 million. Well, then each certificate is only worth 50 cents now, because you got to connect that to the gold. Well, you print 4 times, then each one is worth a quarter. So the more you print, the less they worth, because those certificates has to equal what the gold is. You understand? So the more you print money, the less, right? The less they're worth. So if you print twice as much money, right, there's less gold. You understand? So if $1 is worth 1 ounce of gold, which that's right, then if you print double that amount of dollars, then each one's worth half an ounce. You understand? That's what printing money without increasing the wealth does. That's inflation. So what happens is They keep printing. They get down to where $100 is worth a penny. But see, that doesn't affect their people. They told to protect their money because they transfer their money to gold. So gold still has its value. It's just the dollars don't. It still got the same amount of gold. But the dollars, they get down to a penny. So you can't buy it. You had $1 million, now your $1 million worth of $5. That's all it's worth. $1. Hardly worth anything. Hey, that's our money. You gotta have your own money, you control your own wealth. You can't keep coming at us what you're doing. And you think they wouldn't do that? Yeah, you've been a Gaza lately? You see what happened to the trees they made with the so-called natives? Kept telling me you had a forked tongue because they kept making trees with them, then they broke the trees. And took their land and genocide and everything else. But no, they wouldn't do that to you. See? Because now you have, your money's worth nothing. They haven't lost anything. Because once that money's worthless, it's no good, right? Then you bury it up, throw it away, it's worth nothing. The people still got gold. And even if they take it, hold on to money, hope to increase again, they just use another different certificate, use another form of money. So it's still worth nothing. That $1 million you had, you was so happy with it now, it's probably worth maybe $1. So you can't buy anything with $1. Plus the economy's collapse because everything is failing, and you don't know how to repair it. You don't know how to get those communications. You don't know how to do any of this stuff. You're not an engineer, build a house, you don't know how to do anything because Farrakhan didn't. Right? He didn't prepare you. He told you he'll give you 6 days. He told you, listen to me, right? So now you're broke, and your economy is gone. You have no food, no electricity, no power, anything, right? It's not their fault. They gave you what you asked for. You saw out your inheritance for that. And then they closed the border. Because you're going to try to get back into America now. We want to come back in, Master. No, we don't want you back in here. We sorry, we want to come in. No. That's what you chose. You stay there. They closed the border, so you can't get back in here. You can't get back in America, into what you can call your land now. Swaziland or something? Farrakhan. Maybe call it Traveland. Farrakhan. They got the Farrakhan. Right? So they close the borders, you can't, because now you're hungry and everything else, your money's worthless. Oh God, come back, Master, I'll come back work for you, I'll work for Popeyes, I'll do anything you want. No, remember, now blacks, either they over in Arabia or they in that land. There are no blacks in America, in places, just in that land, that you 6 days. And now you're starving, you ain't got your money's worthless, nothing works, and they close the border. Right? And then you see Master, you on the phone, you talking to the guy that you kept treating, help you. Hey, we finally got rid of niggas. Finally got rid of them. See, on the phone. Yeah, it worked. We sold them no reparations. We sold them that used car. It turned the miles back and everything else, and they bought it. See? They could have had a BMW. They could have had a Lamborghini. They sold that for a BMW that looked good. Damn thing didn't work. And now they're starving, living in tents. Praying. So what? And what next? What we gonna do, Farrakhan? You told us to take reparations, so we did. But they gave us everything we asked for. What we gonna do, Farrakhan? What we gonna do? Pray. That's his answer. Pray. That's your reparations. like Elijah Muhammad said, he had a big picture. We leaving, and blacks staying on the shore, the ones stay behind, and they was whooping their ass. Right? Because they thought you think they want to give you some land and take care of you? You think they want to do that? And go bankrupt, give everybody $1 million? You know how much that is? If it's 17 million, that's 17 million times 17 million times a million is like $17 trillion, I think, something like that there. Then they're gonna do all that for you. They want to get rid of you. So now they have succeeded. Because they closed the border. What you gonna do? You gonna fight to come out? They closed the border. They got the military around there. They finally got rid of you. No more black problem, no more Negro problem anymore. One group's out of here, another group that's here. They're gone, and our hands are clean. We gave them what they wanted. Well, anything. Okay. God honors contracts. Remember, he honored the contract with Jacob. Esau sold his birthright for a bowl of soup to Jacob, which was Esau's inheritance, and God honored it. Okay, Jacob, it's yours. You're the one. And that's the deal. Because he ain't your friend. Pharaoh ain't your friend. Pray, pray, pray. That's the answer. This is homeland you was promised. You rejected it. So now you got what you asked for. So if they gave you reparations today or tomorrow, how would that scenario not play out like that? Well, they say, okay, you got it. Tell me how the scenario wouldn't play out like that. And tell me why they wouldn't do it. They love you so much, they're going to say, okay, we're going to take care of them. I mean, why should they go out their way to take care of you when you was right here? You was working at Popeyes and living in the get-up on Section 8, all that stuff right here with they. Because they're trying to get rid of that stuff right now. Trump's trying to get rid of all that stuff right now. Because they're closing on you don't realize it. Anyway, that's just, that's what's happening over in America. Wow. Of course, come here. Disaster over there. And I just got a call. Oh, wait, hold on. Really? You serious? Our ambassador just got a call from I don't know what they call it Conland or something. I forgot what it is, something they call it right there. That 6th day. They begged us to come and help. Can they come over here? Can we come and get them? Really? Can we come and get them and bring them? Oh no. Now he went and asked Master Fraud Muhammad, right? He said, no, hell no. We ain't going to get them. And I agree with that. Yeah, the bastard said he said, let's call him, and he passed the word to Master Fraud Muhammad. Master Muhammad said, send him back. Master, no, we can't come and get you. You chose, you made your choice, live with it. But die, whatever the situation is. Wow. I can't believe that. They actually, right, sent a message over. I don't know how they did. I don't have any communication with them. Somehow they got the information over to them. Said, would we please come and get them? Nope. Said, no, tell them no. And don't waste time communicating with us anymore. You got your land, you got your reparations, you got your money, you got Farrakhan as your leader. Yeah, tell him, talk to him, let him straighten out for you. He didn't want to sell you the idea. He was a salesman. So you on that idea of reparations. We told you. Right? Suleiman, right? He was the messenger to you, telling you, look, man, let's go home. You said no. You chose not to. Okay, well, since that's a sad story. But I guess that's it. Is that it? Oh, so they're not getting more reports on because okay, he says That was Matthew Prophet Muhammad's final decision, and I think they closed communications off from there. So, like I said, brothers and sisters, we got those guys that came in. All that came in today, man. Came in fast. After a whole year, total collapse. Now they begging it. Somebody help them. We can't do it. Maybe Master help you. We won't do it. Assalamu alaikum. Update, brothers and sisters, got another late report in that they said, well, if you want to come and get us, well, we at least send them some food. They begged, said, please send them some food. Master Muhammad said, no, we got to send them a damn thing, nothing, zero. He said, please just send some food. No, I just got that in. He says, if you can't come and get us, please send some food. He says, no. He refused. I said, boy, I just got the information from the ambassador. He said, they sent that, and he's ready to meet. He says, no. He said, please, just please send us some food. He said, no, go, no way. You made your choice, case closed. Okay, just got that in, brothers and sisters. Assalamu alaikum.